The podcast on Haunted Hill will contain spoilers and swearing.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
Please help us, Michael. Be one of us.
I didn't tell you my name.
Hang up.
I didn't tell them my name.
They're all a part of it. They're all parts of
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Hello and welcome to the podcast on Haunted Hill, Sexy 172.
We are your love gurus.
I'm your sexy host, Gav.
I'm your love guru, Dan.
Virtually sitting here with Guru Dan.
For this episode, we're called The Love Cast on Humping Hill.
And we're just going to talk about all your love problems.
Because this is our Valentine's episode.
It's sexy. It's dripping with sex.
That's a big kiss there for you all.
Oh, there's a puddle of sex dripped
We'll try
from
and
the
keep
ceiling.
We'll try and keep up the sex appeal throughout the whole episode, but
And we don't really have to try. It's just flowing.
But Gav, also, this is a good time for you to tell our listeners who are regulars.
Oh,
If you're regular,
welcome back.
if you're new to the show,
Welcome front.
and if you just pop along now and again.
Oh, side to side.
There you go, guys. Happy Valentine's Day. Appreciate this, or it probably already passed Valentine's if you're listening to this, but
Turned into some sort of Alan Partridge podcast there.
we do try and occasionally put out a Valentine's special.
We do.
It's difficult to come up with horror films that are love themed, but we have done it about half a dozen times over the years.
I don't know. There's actually a load, but this one I said for this show, which I mentioned years ago to do. It just seemed like a good Valentine's one.
Yes. So, well, on that point, then we are going to be covering for our Valentine's episode. We're going to be getting sexy. We're going to be getting loved
Sexy,
up.
dripping.
We're going to be
sexy.
looking at an Australian film that I'd never seen before from 2009 called The Loved Ones.
I reckon I saw it at Fright Fest, so I probably saw it 2009.
A long time ago now. And that is directed by the same guy that did The Devil's Candy, who I'm a big fan of. I was a fan of that.
Yeah.
And we're pairing that up with, when it comes to sexy films, if you want to cross species, not species, I've just given it away. If you want to cross, I was going to say, if you want to cross between Basic Instinct, Alien and the Terminator, then look no further than the horny alien called Species.
That's quite a good pairing.
And it's slap bang from 1995. It's slap bang in the middle of the 90s when all the sexy bob-haired blondes like, Michelle Pfeiffer and Kim Basinger and Sharon Stone were going around doing their thing, and sexy Natasha Henstridge gonna bite your head off after she's bonked you in a tub.
And I know it's The Loved Ones is very Hostel-like, but in a it's like if Hostel was a romantic movie.
Yeah, or Texas Chainsaw.
It's Texas Chainsaw, mixed with Hostel, mixed with like some romance movie. Take your pick.
With drills in the brain. That's what we're covering for this episode, you sexy listeners.
Sexy drilling in the brain. Stick it in.
Pop it in and then pour some hot water in. So, Gavin, been up to much? What are you doing? What's going on? Watched anything?
Been a bit busy and broke. Could do some more work, but can we always?
Get some more money, really, can we?
Yeah, I think everyone could. Not a huge amount. Working on Deadbolt film stuff. Amanda is pretty much we're there with it. I've mentioned it before. I'm quite proud of it. It'll be released. The trailer will probably be out in the next week or so.
And there's a fantastic poster as well.
Poster's good. And then probably release the film the next couple of months, I imagine. I'm really happy with it. It's just one last part just be filmed by a demonologist part, which is I pretty much say it now because I'm sure he's doing it this week. It's one of those things you don't like to say stuff until you've actually got the video or you've got the money in the bank. I think Nicholas Vince will be, what I know he is, Nicholas Vince was Teeth Chatterer from Hellraiser. He's playing a demonologist for us. He was also Moonface, or I can't remember his name, in Nightbreed. There's some other bits and bobs. Anyway, he's doing that bit, so he's just filming that last part for me at the moment. As soon as he gets that in, I can add that, and we are dropping that film.
We're dropping it like it's hot.
And I'm really proud of it, actually, but it's one of those things I've worked my arse off on it, and I should be working on stuff which actually makes me money, because this doesn't. I'm putting it out on YouTube. So I'm hoping all of you lovely listeners will watch it just to give us some numbers, some views. Even if you put it on and walk out the room.
Just put it on a loop continuously for a week.
Get us some numbers for the YouTube. It's all for the dead, all for the cause of the greater good. Deadwood.
Yeah, looking forward to the final version of that coming out with Nicholas jumping in there.
That's kind of all I've been doing. I haven't really watched much films, really.
Talking of numbers, we don't often do this, but I just wanted to say the last episode, the Peter Jackson special, where we covered The Frighteners and Bad Taste, is proving to be one of our most successful episodes within probably the last year. Lots and lots of listens and streams and YouTube views. So you guys obviously love Peter Jackson. I think it might be The Frighteners that might have done it, because I think you might get the odd person who's just Googled The Frighteners.
I'm going to say Bad Taste.
Yeah, but I think the more generic horror fan will probably think, oh, I love The Frighteners.
Yeah, but also the hardcore horror fan will be like, oh, Bad Taste. There's probably not many podcasts that cover Bad Taste.
Either way, Peter Jackson has brought in some numbers for us, so thank you, Sir Peter Jackson. There's only one film for me to mention, really, Gav, that I've watched, and that is starring our friend, our Lord, our Saviour, our unofficial podcast mascot, Nicolas Cage. All right, Nicolas Cage. And I watched Pig.
Yeah, I saw it actually when it first came out. I don't know, it wasn't really for me. It's because, I'll tell you why. This is why sometimes it's not good to watch trailers. I remember the trailer in my head. The trailer made out, I feel like, I might be wrong, but it made out it kind of like a, not John Wick-y, but slight revenge film. Slightly.
Yeah, like Taken, but instead of his daughter, a pig.
And it was that, but without any sort of action.
Exactly, yeah. I was really underwhelmed by it.
You were underwhelmed by it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what we were all thinking it was.
I gave it a solid, slap bang in the middle, 5 out of 10, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't really like it either. I really feel that the trailer was it obviously got people to watch the film, but I really feel like you may have gotten to watch it, but if you disappoint them with a movie which doesn't deliver what you thought it was going to deliver, then that's kind of a bit redundant.
What tripped me out is it looks fantastic, shot really well, and Nicolas Cage is incredible in it. What a performance.
What's his truffle pig?
But there's not really an awful lot going on, really. I love all the characters. I love the small town vibe, like the Twin Peaks vibe going on in the town.
But nothing happens. If you'd have just thrown in at least 3 scenes of something happening.
Yeah.
So I don't even remember any of it, really.
I can't recommend it. But if you're a fan of Nicolas Cage, then, you know...
If you're a fan of Nicolas Cage, there's fucking hundreds through the decades.
Pig was his number 100th role when he filmed that. He's done a few films since.
And I've heard some people like it, but you know, it's one of those things. As you and I established earlier on this evening, not long ago, within 60 minutes actually of this recording, we established that I'm older now and I don't have much patience with films. And you said yes, and you agreed with me. And it's one of those things. It's so funny how different everyone being different just takes in the same movie but could look at it in a different way. So interesting. That's what's the beauty of art, that you can take it away with the way you are as a human being. You know.
Now, talking of lots and lots of film roles, anyway, I always watch Nicolas Cage. I watch pretty much anything he's in. I can't say I've watched every single one of his films, probably a lot of them. There is an actor that I've watched every single one of his films, and I saw the trailer for the new Jackie Chan movie. I'm just going to give this to you. I think I sent it to you. I don't know if you watched it.
I did. Sorry, I forgot.
It's called Panda Plan. Okay. The Panda Plan. And it stars Jackie Chan as Jackie Chan.
A panda, oh.
No, he plays himself at a charity event.
He could be like the real-life Kung Fu Panda.
Where a panda is because it's like this special panda. I don't really get it from the
Pandas
trailer.
are pretty special anyway. They're
But
quite.
basically, these bad guys are after this panda, and as Jackie Chan, he has to protect this baby panda throughout the whole film. And the panda keeps farting.
Was it like hard boiled?
It looks incredible. In only a way that Jackie Chan's movie can.
What is he? 70?
He is 71 this year.
Oh fucking hell! I guess well.
And he's
Good on
still
him.
kicking ass and looking after pandas.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm coming up to 50 in 2 years' time, which sounds absolutely bonkers because I feel like a fucking 15-year-old. Oh, no, I don't mean... let's change the words there. I feel like I'm still a 15-year-old.
Thank you.
Woo! Anyway... it's weird because I've started going to the gym and I've still got my strength and I'm doing that, but you feel it. You feel it when you're getting older. You feel it when you sit down. I remember that it's like late 20s when you first start to sit down and go, and you make a sound when you sit down. Don't know why. It just happens. And I feel like it does take a toll on you, life, everything. But some of these action stars, some of these guys that are still doing things like Sly Stallone is still sort of doing a few punches and shit here and there. Schwarzenegger not so much, but I feel Stallone's probably more of that sort of person.
It's because they're conditioned. They've been doing it their whole entire life, aren't they? Their body would probably, if they stopped.
Exactly. It's like fucking Lenny from Motorhead that when the doctor said to him, nah, keep drinking that whiskey every day. If you don't, you're probably going to fucking die. Because your body gets used to it. So, yeah, funny.
It is funny. But I just wanted to quickly mention
So, what I'm saying, Dan, come around and
Jackie.
beat me up, and I'll beat you up, and we'll just keep doing that, and we'll be fine.
Beat each other off, because it's our
Up.
Valentine's special.
Cool.
Oh, beat me up, beat me off. Okay, we'll do that. It's our Valentine's special, so why not? Last thing to mention then, before we have a trailer for our first film, because we haven't got a lot to say, because we're just too full of love, is Gav, you wanted to bring up, talking of love, there is only one spy who's loved us all.
Yep.
He's got around the world, he's got with lots we covered him a few episodes ago. He loves Bond girls, and that is James Bond. Tell us about what's going on with James Bond.
Well, it's interesting that we actually covered Bond. We never had just a couple of months ago. Last month, a couple of episodes ago, and we were like quintessential Bond. Probably check this out. It's pretty much definitive almost. It's got all the cliches, everything you expect.
It's the blueprint
of Bond. It really is, and it's funny that we did that. And it's really funny that Daniel Craig's one. Spoiler: if you've not seen In Time to Die, he dies.
I haven't seen it.
Haven't
It's
you?
it's the only one I haven't seen, but I heard that he died.
You kind of can't not know that because
Yeah,
it's
I
such a
have
pivotal
heard
character. Which that never happened. Is my mum told me. I think it was. I was like, thanks, mum.
But your mum also told you the actor that played the Pink Panther died, and you went, do you mean the actor that played the Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman? She went, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Bless her.
I was like, Peter Sellers, he died years ago. Anyway, he did 80s, I think it was.
I love your mum though for that.
You see where I get it from, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that they kind of finished that series off in a kind of neat bundle. We had like the 50th year of Bond, and then they had two more Bonds since that. I've got a really lovely 50th Bond box set. You've seen that Blu-ray box set of books in it. It's really nice. Then I had to buy the last two movies separately because it didn't come with it. But it's almost a neat package. And recently, this is insane. Amazon have paid £1 billion for the Bond franchise. Obviously that's creative control and everything. That's insane. Now the shame of it is because the Broccoli family, which it was always Cubby, then it went on to his daughter Barbara, and it was always whatever Cubby said when. If Cubby didn't like something or didn't want it, didn't happen. Do you know what I mean? And in a way, it's one person's taken on of Ian Fleming's character from the books, defining what is and what isn't. It's one person. It's not a collection. It's not a meeting room full of people. Do you know what I mean?
And now it's going to be a
And now
group full
it's
of prime
going
producers.
to be a different thing. Granted, they might do a really amazing, maybe, because they're going to make a TV show. It's probably the first thing they'd do is going to make a Bond TV show. They might make a movie, but there'll probably be a universe, like a superhero spin-off universe type thing, more than likely. because they're going to rinse it, and that's the
Well,
problem
it could be
with
like
it.
double O Academy or something like that. You know,
It's going to be an issue. Like, it's always been such a thing when they find a new Bond. It's always such a thing, and it's just, I don't know. There's something about it, and we've said before in the episode a couple episodes ago, where it's such a staple for us in England. It was like a thing, and now it's just kind of. I might be totally wrong. They might do absolutely fine, but it's not going to be that special time. Like, the new James Bond's going to be revealed, and then, the new Bond movie's out. You could go see. I got to go see the Bond movie. My mum and talk about my dad. But if they sort of start doing the whole like mass production type stuff, it's just going to take everything away from it, and it won't have that complete creative control of like pretty much one family, the Broccoli family, going, no, this is that, as producers deciding who is going to make it, like you'll make it. But this might be a time when Christopher Nolan goes, Amazon, can you work with me? And Christopher Nolan makes a Bond movie,
which is the dream.
Which, and I'm starring in it, obviously. So,
Yeah, and I'll be the Bond girl. So
Bond, James Bond.
Like
she's the thrill.
There's a couple of things off of this, really. What's interesting is it just demonstrates now how big streaming platforms are already, because when Netflix and Prime started having their own movies, their own exclusives, and other ones like Apple TV and that. Initially, I remember years ago thinking, oh God, Prime making their own movie or their own series, but actually a lot of those series, like the Reacher series and a lot
Lord
of the
of the Rings,
doing, they're incredible big budgets, and
they are.
Netflix have really
they've got the money,
But
like say the example, Lord of the Rings, I'd prefer to watch Jackson's films than the show. I tried watching episodes, and I was a bit
I've never seen any of it.
It's not really for me. It just doesn't. It's like, so. I might be wrong. Never judge book by cover. Something might come out all right, and I will go in open eyes, open arms, open everything,
open legs,
open gaping holes.
It's a Valentine's episode, so
eye holes. This is, So wait and see, James Bond fans. Wait and see.
So Prime are now gearing up to drop some new James Bond, and Netflix are like, well, we're putting Happy Gilmore 2 out next month.
I'm happy with that.
I cannot wait for that.
I fucking love Happy Gilmore.
I can't wait for Happy Gilmore 2.
I did watch a movie. I did watch a movie over the weekend. I said to Elijah, we're going to watch this movie. Oh, I don't know about... He's pretty much says this about anything that I suggest doing in life, in fact, really. Even food. I put on Big Daddy of Adam Sandler. So me and him watched Big Daddy, and really enjoyed
Absolutely
it.
Love it.
I haven't seen it since I was like a teenager when Adam Sandler was kind of coming out and you're watching his films. So I watched it with Elijah. He's 10, the kid in it's 5. That kid is so cute.
Really cute. Cheerios.
The way he says the words is literally like a kitten coming up to you going, oh, I love you.
Cheerios.
It's so ridiculous. They cast the cutest fucking kid.
Lasagna.
But Elijah found it quite amusing. Like where the guy's like, right, you're not peeing in my restaurant. Customers only. So he goes around beside the building and starts pissing. And then he says, I can't do it. You pee with me. And he pees with him. And Elijah found that quite funny. And it's quite nice because me and Elijah... I'm not a traditional dad. I'm, I do some crazy... I let him watch horror movies. I just fucking whatever. And I think he appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's good. I do have time for Adam. Well, we've covered all bases there, Gav. We kept it sexy all the way through as well. Adam Sandler, Jackie Chan, James Bond.
Sex.
Nothing screams sexy like Jackie Chan and Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler is probably the only person who's got the most amount of money going at actors, who just walks around in a tracksuit bottom, looks like he's so depressed with bags under his eyes and like he's just eating fatty food all day long and doesn't care.
Every time he's on a talk show, he's got a hoodie on.
It just looks like... and I actually saw a video of him on Instagram, and he's wearing a tux, and the woman's like, oh, look at you. He's like, yeah... I had to. They told me I had to wear it, and he's just like he's really unhappy wearing a tuxedo. That's really funny.
I love him. Some people don't, but we love everyone because it's Valentine's. So it's time to get sexy, Gav. Are you ready for some sex?
I'm lubed up and sexy.
Okay, so we're gonna go down under. Whoop.
Yes, we are.
Down under.
Down under.
For a trailer now for a film I'd never seen before, which Gav chose, and that is 2009's The Loved Ones. So take it away, trailer.
You coming to the prom?
Yeah, I'm going with Holly.
wicked. Let me get the door, my lady.
Pretty as a picture.
Will you go to the dance with me?
Sorry, Lola. I'm going with Holly. Guess who asked me to the dance?
Hey.
Hi, this is Brent. Leave a message.
Brent's done this before. He's always turned up.
Lola.
What are you looking at?
Say happy.
Happy. Suck it. Show me! When I find my prince, this is the song we're gonna dance to. And there's only one way to find out if it's you.
Boys shouldn't hit girls.
I'm going to stab Holly in the heart, just like you did to me.
Beloved Ones from 2009. When Brent turns down his classmate Lola's invitation to the prom, she concocts a wildly violent plan for revenge. A nice tidy 1 hour and 24 minutes, this one. It's directed by Sean Byrne, who directed The Devil's Candy, which I saw many years ago, which is a really good movie about a guy, a painter in Texas, who gets possessed. But this is some Aussie Antipodean horror. We did some New Zealand on the last episode, and we're doing some Aussie for this one here.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and some really good horror coming out of Australia at the moment. We did Talk to Me a while back. I'd not seen this before. You think you maybe saw it at Fright Fest?
I reckon I saw it at Fright Fest, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting film. I'll just say right now, I was impressed. I was impressed with it. I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah, well, I don't know actually. I was about to say, do you find in Australian films, a lot of them are mainly independent? I'd say they're gonna, I suppose, do we get major studios? Of course we do. That's just naive of me to say major studios don't produce films in Australia. Like major, you know what I'm saying? Sony's, yeah, whatever. Of course, that's just naive of me. I'm sure there's many examples. I think there's one called Australia, which would probably be a great example of that, with Hugh Jackman and Nicole Kidman, I think. So, you know. But I do find in the horror market, it's generally independent cinema. So you never know what you get. Australia, though, is always interesting. Generally get something good. It's generally quite raw as well.
Yeah. You know, whether it's your Wolf Creek or whatever it might be.
A raw film, though, with the horror movies.
Yeah. And this feels like, if this was an American film, because it's very much like an American type plot, you know, and this could all be taking place in an American high school.
It does have like handgun in it and stuff, so I suppose, yeah.
But because this is Australian, it has a little bit slightly heightened. It's just a little bit better because it's different. Do you know what I mean?
Well, for one thing, I feel with Australia, because of, we know, the outback, I think because of thatness of it, I feel it gives it a bit more of an edge. Where if we're in safety, I suppose you could always shoot it in a desert in the States. But I feel like with this, having that always gives Australian films that, like that one of the giant, what was it? Not boar, but the original one.
Oh, Razorback.
Razorback, like that one, especially, very much like you don't know if help's coming.
Yeah, and I think that's why this feels like they're obviously homaging Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know, that takes place out in Texas, where there's not a lot around in that remote area where they set that film. But also this has elements of Hostel in it. It is, the back half of this is torture porn essentially, but in a way that doesn't feel like torture porn. It feels like more like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre style of torture porn, where there's somebody tied to a chair, and obviously we're going to cover the film in detail in a moment, but someone tied to a chair, you're really wanting them to escape. But what's good about this film for me, the extra little injection for me is, if you pardon the pun, is that there's an element of this poor kid that all this stuff happens to. He is prepped for this. He's gone through some terrible grief, and he's already into pain because he self-harms when we first meet him, once he's had his terrible accident. And so it's almost like he's been prepping for this situation without knowing it, because
he's been in training for pain.
Much. Yeah, he endures
That's
a lot
a fascinating
of pain.
takeaway from that.
And you don't often see self-harm, because it's a very dark subject, and you don't see it very often, and it's very casually, just, they don't even talk about it in this, it's just shown. He carries a razor blade on a necklace around his neck, and you see little marks on him here and there.
Yeah,
it's but that's some of the things that add to this film for me. That and the performances. I think the performances are great, and I actually think Lola, our main girl, our psychotic lady in this, played by Robin McLeavy, is absolutely terrifying and really phenomenal character. She's great. But yeah, I think everybody in this is pretty decent. Shall we jump on into it?
We can definitely get into it. I was just gonna say, this this film is essentially the worst prom date you're going to ever get. If there was a bad situation with a prom date and a sort of a female stalker. Now, Dan, I wanted to ask you before we get into it. I know,
yes,
I know you have. Of course, you have. Can you give any more on that?
I think I've talked about it.
You have. But just give us a refresh for this film, just so we're in the vein of things.
So there was one girl who, and I'm by no means Lothario.
I love the fact you said at the beginning there's one, meaning there's multiple. So I've never had a woman stalk over me. You must be the handsome one out of us both. No. It's just I attract psychos. But there was one girl who was in our friendship group. This is about 20 years ago now, maybe a bit less. And she decided she liked me. I had a girlfriend at the time. She would come to my house knocking on the door every day, asking to speak to me. Nice.
I'd been out for a run with my buddy Rob, who I was living with at the time, and we saw her. So we quickly ran past, went in the house. 5 minutes later, she's knocking on the door, and he said, "Oh, he's not in." She said, "Well, I've just seen him go in, so I know he's in. Can I come in?" He said, "No." She said, "Come on, he must be in the shower. Just let me in and wait. I want to speak to him." She then sent me an 8-sided, double-sided A4 letter a few days later, telling me why it was important that we were friends, we stayed friends and remained friends. I asked her to leave me alone. I sent a very long text message back in the day when you had to send it page by page. Remember that? There was only an amount of characters you could put in one text. And it was about 4 pages of text. I sent her a text message back saying, "I have a girlfriend. You're making her uncomfortable. You're making me uncomfortable. I'm really sorry. We cannot be friends anymore." That was fine. And then about a month later, I bumped into her to the street. And I saw her, and I thought, you know what, it's water under the bridge. She's obviously got a lot going on. So I said, "How you doing?" Gave her a hug, chat. And then she said, "I know you didn't mean any of that, really." And I went, "What did you mean?" She said, "No, I know you didn't mean any of it. Should we meet up?" And I said, "No." I just left it there then. Jesus Christ. She lives in London now, so far away from me, thankfully.
Listening to the show right now, Dan's address is... I've not really had them. Yeah. Most of the ladies that are attracted to me are generally down-to-earth, natural type, normal folk, really, got to be honest with you, so I guess that must be it. I just thought I'd ask you because I knew that it was. But yeah, this is the worst
It didn't
case.
involve any torture or anything like that.
No,
Don't get me wrong.
this is the worst. If you could get lobotomized on your prom date, that's not a good date. Anyway, listeners, let's get into the film.
Let's do it. So, good soundtrack, I must just say, throughout this. Lots of good rock songs. And that's all because the main characters in this...
It's got a rock goth vibe going on here.
Yeah, so the main character is Brent, and he's got a best friend called Jamie. Jamie's got a goth girlfriend called Mia, and they're all very sort of emo, gothy, long, straggly black hair, really into their thrash metal, heavy metal, emo metal, and it's great. I've got time for some of that music, so it's really good tunes throughout this, and it kind of added to the kind of tension at times, you know what I mean, when they're sort of sitting in the car getting blowjobs whilst their buddies inside getting drilled in the head, all that kind of stuff. And this will all make sense, listeners. Probably. I mean, do you know some of the songs from the band?
I'm getting blown in the car while my friend's getting drilled in the head.
Do you know the band Cannibal Corpse, of course?
No.
You've heard them?
Oh, yeah, no, of course I know them. Yeah, Sarah loves Cannibal Corpse.
Some of their song titles include Force-Fed Broken Glass. Another one is called Hammer Smashed Face. And probably the most extreme song title is Entrails Ripped from a Virgin's Cunt.
Oh, splendid.
These are all song titles from Cannibal Corpse.
I like the country song, which is I'm out getting hammered while she's out getting nailed.
Brilliant.
I'm out getting hammered while she's out getting nailed. Very good.
Well, it's a good soundtrack. So here we go. Nice little title font comes up. And we get a little prologue, just a little, this is when things were nice. And before he became really gothy and into his metal and his self-harming, Brent was learning to drive with his dad. And they're driving along, singing a song. I didn't mean that to rhyme, but they are driving along, singing along. He says to his dad, "Oh, don't smoke cigarettes, Dad. Come on."
It's a teenage son, long hair. His dad's. Oh, interestingly, he's got long hair. Not there's nothing wrong with that. My son has long hair, but like back in the day, sometimes it got frowned upon. Especially sometimes things like in Australian movies and things like this, where it's very traditional. It'd be like, no, short hair. Don't want to look like a queer, do you? That sort of like. Terrible way of thinking, but this dad seems to be very open, like obviously where he is, and there's like a real bonding going on. The kid's like 17, 18,
yeah.
17.
And like I say, he's learning to drive, so that's in itself a bonding experience, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. And it's just showing a sort of a loving relationship. And you were watching horror movies, you're like, well, obviously something bad's about to happen here.
Yes, and that bad thing is that a semi-naked boy steps in front of the car, a boy that we will come to see later on and find out who he was later on. And this means that Brent has to swerve around him, and unfortunately the car hits a tree, and we later find out that his dad died in that car accident, and he'll never drive again. And in fact, this then drove his mother to drink and pills.
Funny that you say that he would drive again, but it drove her mum. Oh, very clever there, Daniel.
Oh, it did. I didn't mean that.
Sorry. Drove her to pills and stuff. I also going to say this is very bookend. A lovely script is like you start off the same way as you finish, and we do have him in a car at the end driving along. But we get to it. But it was lovely.
He finally overcomes his fear, but he has to.
Yeah, and he does, and he loves his and it's very much bookended.
But there's a lot of thought in the script as well, which I think adds to this for me. I really enjoyed this. So yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, Daddy is dead, and we're going to move on now. So we get to see the high school. It's quite a small car, so obviously a few different scenes and places, but we're all locked in on the characters. We don't have like a wide shot of the whole college schools and stuff so much. Do you know what I mean? It's very with these characters real close with them. Yeah, it's probably only about half a dozen characters in total. It's not many, yeah. And I think they've probably done that. They've probably gone and shot a school or whenever when there's no extras. You don't need to. You're just shooting those two guys in front of a locker real close. Yeah, and Brent is, he's gone full-on emo now. He's selling weed to his buddy, Jamie.
He's obviously doesn't have his father now, so he's obviously traumatized from that, and you can tell almost there's it's like sadness to him, isn't there? It's like, it's gone, like something.
He's a bit empty inside, but he's got a lovely girlfriend called Holly, which we'll meet in a minute, and who we'll meet in a moment. But before that, a girl called Lola walks up to him.
Lola. Dun, 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 dun.
She walks up to him and says, "Are you going to come to the end of year dance with me?" And he says, "No, I'm with Holly."
He doesn't say it like that. He actually stays a while, because I've always... Don't know about you, Dan, but I didn't do very well with the girls. I was blown out more times than I bothered. So you end up going into friend space. You're like, I'm just not going to bother asking you, and I'll just continue being friend from a distance, I always hated the whole rejection thing, and I have had the times when I've had to reject someone, and I've always hated it because I always think of other people's feelings. And so I'm studying it, and he does it okay. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do it, and he's just like, no, I'm going with da da da.
I'm with Holly. She's my girlfriend, and that's that. Very, very blasé. Obviously, this is going to be a decision he's going to really regret.
We were introduced to his mate. His mate's like, "You gonna go to the party? I got a condom here. You want a condom?"
Yeah. And then Jamie says,
"He's got a comical friend."
This new hot goth girl called Mia walks in, and they're both just like, "Wow, she is hot." Jamie, fair play to him. He gets the balls to go around the corner and ask her out, and he comes back.
Says, yeah.
Well, we know she said yeah. We don't see it, but we know he does, because he does a little dance. He's very excited about it.
It's interesting. From the get-go, this film sets out to be quite a youthful, horny film.
Yes.
There's a lot of horniness in this film. It's written by someone who is horny.
Now, considering he's a guy who's, obviously going through a lot of mental illness and self-harm, he's got a lovely girlfriend who's keeping it all together, and her name is Holly. And we waste no time. Holly picks him up in their car, and they get straight to some sex in the car.
I hope everyone's having a drink each time you say the word Holly.
Holly and sex. They're in the car, and while they're sort of getting busy, she lifts up his shirt, and this is where we see he's been cutting himself all up his torso.
To the point he carries a razor on a necklace.
Yeah. And there's a reason for that, which we'll see in a moment, because he likes to squeeze that whenever he's feeling whatever feelings it is that he doesn't like. He squeezes it until he bleeds.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've had to deal with it with my children, the whole self-harming a little bit, and have to discuss it with them, talking about it. And it's always it's generally like, for this guy, it's take away that thought of pain quickly, let me give myself some physical pain, which takes over that thought of that other pain.
Yeah, and also you start to like
starts
the pain,
to turn into a pleasure,
and you rely on the pain, and
it carries on. It's like a vicious cycle. Yeah,
and there's a control element to it, because it's a pain that you're in control of.
So as a thing from a parent to other parents, always keep an eye on it. I've had it. I still have it. Things, but anyway, not getting into that now.
No, but in all seriousness, guys, if you do know of anybody that is self-harming, or you suspect it, it is worth speaking to professionals and trying to get them some help, or even you just talking to them.
I'd say talk to them.
Yeah. It's not, like I said earlier, it's a very dark subject matter that isn't mentioned very often. So it's interesting that they bring it up in this, and it's dealt with very nicely, in a nice way. In fact, it sort of helps them. It becomes a superpower, like I said, towards the end, really.
I used to have friends that did it.
Yeah.
They still got the scars on their arms.
All the way through their sex, he's teasing Holly a little bit. He's saying, somebody else asked me out. Somebody asked me to the end of your dance. And she keeps asking who. Now, in the middle of this, while they're banging away in the car, Lola, the girl that asked him out, is stood there watching. Isn't she, Gav? She is fuming.
What you
angry.
Want, definitely what you want, if the person that you said, no, I'm not going to go to prom dance, is to be outside the car watching you, after being declined, watching you have sex, watching your little bottom going up and down in a car, steamy car, dripping with sex. That's my catchphrase for tonight, dripping with sex.
Now, he is a little bit empty inside, because as he leaves the car, she drops him off. She says, love you, and he doesn't say it back. He just sort of says, okay, bye, see you later.
Well, love is probably a hard thing for a minute now, lad. It might be his thing. I'm sure she understands, because she's an all right person.
But he does leave her with. It was Lola Stone that asked me out. She was the one. So that will come back later.
Oh yeah, for the whole time she's going, "Who was it? Who was it?" Yeah. And he wouldn't say. So it's like a little game they're playing.
Yeah. So he's at home now. He's listening to thrash metal. And his mum she just looks awful. He looks awful. They both look like zombies. It looks like they're not getting any sleep or any sunlight. They're obviously both dealing with the grief, and this is where it's brought up that the dad is definitely dead. He definitely died in that opening.
I was gonna say it's not the happiest of movies. This actually.
No. I mean, Lola's having a great time with her dad, but
and the dude at the date with the goth chick, he's having a good time.
Oh, he's having a fucking great evening. But the other thing is that his mum is now super paranoid about cars, and she says, "Are you really going to go to this end of year dance with Holly? Is she going to drive? Why is she driving? I don't want you driving. I don't want you getting in a car." And he's like, "It's fine, Mum. Honestly, she's passed her test, you know." And so his mum, quite rightly, is very paranoid of cars, since she's also worried he's going to drive a car one day and end up just like, you know, his dad. So that's the whole thing, really. The next day we see him again, very dark. He goes on one of his mental health walks where he's walking his dog.
Yep.
And he's squeezing his razor blade as he's listening to his thrash metal, and the blood's dripping down his wrist.
His dog's just like, "Yeah, another nice day walking."
I know, his dog doesn't care. Silly
Sniff pee.
And then he gets to his little spot that he likes to go and sort of meditate, if you will, which is like a little cliff face that he climbs up. It's not super high, but he climbs up to a little bit that he likes to lie down in the sun and listen to his music. He almost dares himself to fall off the cliff at one point. He doesn't care about living, does he?
Yeah, he's almost teasing with suicide in a sense. You can, you know, absolutely full blown. He's considered it. It's at least popped in his head,
and it's just such a great way of telling a story. He's lying there, you know, listen to this thrash metal. He's just cut his hand, and then we cut back quickly to his mum sitting in a very dark room, drinking, taking pills. Just that's how she's dealing with it. That's how he's dealing with it. Yeah, it's great. No dialogue.
It's almost like a Requiem for a Dream type darkness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then out the fucking blue, Gav.
Oh, this dude out of you don't see anything more than like knees because the camera's like, so the guy's sitting on the rocks, the camera's like in front of him, so we just see knees behind him. Someone walks up behind him, and you can see with his hands, he's got a cloth in his hand, puts it on his face, and Bob's your uncle. This dude's chloroformed and taken away.
Yeah, he's out there and
chloroformed. Yeah, not chlorofilmed. That's like cling filmed.
Cling filmed, and he gets dragged away. And that is it for now.
To be honest, chloroform and cling film, both two ways one could kill you for sure. Cling film's a fucking horrible way to die.
Apparently, chloroform, the way it's shown in films,
probably
work
doesn't.
like
no,
that.
I'm sure
you'd have to like breathe it in for like 20 minutes or something before you pass out.
Hang on, I'm just trying to pass out. Can you hurry up? I've got a car engine going here.
Seconds.
Come on, the boot's open. I can get a ticket in a minute. Can you crack on with knocking yourself out? Yeah.
Well, cut to later in the afternoon. Jamie, his bestie, is waiting for his goth date. Now, his goth date's dad happens to be the local sheriff, a policeman, which all ties in nicely.
It's fucking great because it's real.
This scene is funny.
This is the only sort of lightness to the film, to be honest with you, his mate who doesn't have.
Needed. I think it's really needed.
I would say it's added because he has no other purpose in the film. He doesn't come in to help out or anything whatsoever, his mate, does he? Nothing at all. No. It's literally just, let's just cut away from all this horribleness to have. I think it's because of the roller coaster. Otherwise, it's just pain, torture.
It'd be too dark, wouldn't it?
It was just too much. So I think that's what you're right. They've added this going. They might have written the script and be like, go back, add a character. His mate is such an awkward thing. He goes up to get the date. The girl comes out. She's like in a little black dress. Looks very pretty. Mum comes out. Oh, your dad wants to get a photo, sort of thing. Dad comes out and he's a copper. She's oh, nice to meet you, sir. And he's picking her up, and it's just that whole awkward thing. Like standing, the goth girl doesn't want to have a picture taken. Oh, for God's sake, Dad, that sort of thing. And it's yeah. And
then the police dog, goes up to him and starts going crazy at his crotch.
Oh,
because
no,
he's got an ounce of weed in his pocket. And she goes,
So
she
funny.
says, my dad's dog likes your crotch. And he says, yeah, that was because I've got loads of weed in my pocket. She's like, oh, great, excellent. This is going to be a good date.
Oh, brownie points.
But he's quite nice to the dad. He shakes their hand and says, oh, I'll have her home in one piece, don't worry. And he's quite civil to them.
I tell you what,
It's quite
though,
funny.
what it does do, it resembles and introduces the policeman as a person who, yes and no. He doesn't actually say anything to the kid like, if you hurt my daughter, or anything whatsoever, which I thought he was going to do, which is a bit of a cliche, but it would help introduce his character more. But we end up being like, this policeman end up going searching for what we're going to get into with the guy that's just been kidnapped. So it does introduce his character, but they could have actually done a bit more. I don't know. You could have gone a bit deeper with it, but you don't need it.
Well, Holly goes to Brent's house because they're supposed to be going to the dance together, and he's not home. And his mum says, well, I don't know where he is. He went for a walk with the dog. Yeah. Then they hear the dog. They open the door to the dog, and the dog is really injured. We find out it's been stabbed or cut by somebody. So the poor dog, they bring it inside, and obviously this doesn't look good. You know, if he's been missing for a few hours and the dog turns up dying,
injured, yeah,
it's not great, really.
So
really. They go looking for him outside. They try ringing his mobile phone. There's no answer. They just can't find him anywhere.
I guess you look at it, you're possibly thinking, the first thing you're thinking, there's been an accident in the outback and he's gone and fallen off a cliff or some shit.
They call up Maya's dad.
Thought.
They call up Maya's dad, who is the cop that we just met, and he says, look, he'll turn up. You know what he's like. He's done this before. He's gone missing for hours at a time.
Yeah.
He'll turn up. Don't worry about it. And she starts driving off with the dog, presumably to take it to the vet. And then, again, no dialogue. The car just pulls over, and you hear her start crying, and that's because we assume the dog died in the car.
Yeah.
We don't have to see it. It's done very cleverly without any dialogue. Jamie and Mia arrive at the prom, but they're not going to go in yet. They are going to have a little party in the car with some booze and some weed and a little blowjob along the way, perhaps. So we do cut back to this quite frequently, so bear with us while we cut to and from Jamie and whatever on earth is going on with Brent.
I think maybe it's introduced as well. It's a juxtaposition, isn't it, really? It's showing you what the prom date should be. Like at one period they have like those two slow dancing when she's giving him a hand job on a dance floor.
Oh my God.
And everyone's watching, even a teacher. But then it cuts to a version of that slow dance in the insane stalker's head and what's happening in her world. So I feel like you got to have that as a contrast juxtaposition.
Yeah, it works well. So we cut back to the truck now that Brent is in the back of, passed out. Along the way, the dad, who we find out, the dad that's driving it, he grabs some roadkill off the road, which he'll use later on for feeding purposes, shall we say. And we get a really spooky score now as the truck sort of pulls up to the farm, and Lola comes out of the farm and she says, is he dead?
Lola.
Is he dead? He says, he's not dead. Look, she said he looks dead. He's like, he's not dead. There's a heartbeat. Oh, great. Thanks, Dad, for bringing him here.
No, I the other day I popped in to see my son because I was driving past, and it's always good, to go see your family. And I had a Lindt chocolate. I snuck it onto his desk where he's working. A little Lindt chocolate. I said, there you go. Don't tell the others. And he hid it in his pocket as his sisters ran downstairs. And it wasn't a dying human. It was a Lindt chocolate, a little spoiled chocolate I gave him. I didn't bring him home a almost dying human.
Yeah, that's good. You're a good dad.
Yeah. So anyway, she's like, thanks, Dad. Thanks for the gift.
And we now get an insight into the inside of her head via the inside of her actual bedroom. Now, her bedroom is full of dolls and dollies that have been positioned, quite a lot of them in quite rude positions. It looks very dirty and grubby in there. And she's got a scrapbook full of boys with eyes coloured out or red marks crossed over them. And one of the last ones in there is Brent, his yearbook picture. And she's sort of drawn a heart around it. And she's obviously got the hots for him. He's He's the loved one.
It's a bit Get Out like almost.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah.
What's really interesting, we had this conversation earlier speaking about children and how they look at parents, and they kind of copy their actions. Like they kind of look and see. Obviously, you get some kids that are going to go, "Oh no, you're being a naughty person. That's not how you should be." But generally, they kind of follow suit or a little bit of the way you are and how you go around the world. They watch you and copy you a little bit. You got to think in this, because we find out, spoiler, it's not really much of a spoiler, but we find out that mum's been lobotomised by them, presumably by the dad, because she doesn't really know what she's doing, so it's by the dad. So you got to go with, at one point, the dad did that. And at what age was the daughter? I reckon it's quite horror. It's almost like a sort of episode of me and Sarah's podcast, but it's like when she was born, he possibly fell in love with the baby in a not natural way, and carried that on. Do you know what I mean? And kind of then looked at the mum as on the side, but loved his daughter in a really almost like Fritzl type way.
Yeah, so what's good is there's this weird family dynamic, but we don't know the backstory too much, which makes it scarier. It does.
Really? Well, it opens up this conversation we're having now.
Yeah, and
so whatever she's like showing all this thing, he is a huge version of it. Okay.
And the next scene really demonstrates some of that with what this film does very well, especially when it comes to Lola and her dad and the relationship with her dad and her mum to some extent, is it takes what should be really lovely moments and then it really sours them. And by that, I'll talk about the next scene, which is he comes in and says, "Oh, you're ready for the end of your dance?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I bought you some shoes and a dress." And he gives her shoes and a dress. A lovely moment between father and daughter, you know. But then she just strips down in front of him and gets changed in front of her dad, which just seems, and he's watching her in a way that just doesn't seem very fatherly.
Well, I don't at any point think it's the first time. And obviously, as a dad, you a parent, you see your children naked, because you do when you're bathing them when they're young, you know. But yeah, it's not correct.
Well, he then says, "Pretty as a picture." And it's just, yeah.
And also, she's fairly with it, because we get to it later on what she says to him.
Well, Brent wakes up, and he is in a bit of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre situation here.
Stroke hostel.
He wakes up tied to a chair. He's wearing a tuxedo now. He's been dressed in a lovely tuxedo, and he's sat at a table. And at the table, we've got Daddy. We've got Lola.
Lola.
And some old woman that we find out is their mother.
Which is very Texas Chainsaw Massacre with the granddad.
She's got a little hole in her forehead, and they call her Bright Eyes. They don't call her Mummy or Mum. They just call her Bright Eyes.
Wow.
Which is fucking out there.
Because she doesn't have bright eyes. She has very dull eyes because she's been lobotomized.
And Lola does not fuck around here, because the first thing she does is take a syringe, fill it with bleach, and inject it into his vocal cords, rendering him unable to scream or talk, which adds this horrible element throughout the film. Whenever he's in pain, the noise that he makes...
It's like a muted dinosaur?
It's horrible.
Or something, like, trying to
I can't
breathe.
even do it.
It's really, really disturbing, actually.
It reminds me, and again, this is another film this reminds me of. It reminds me of The People Under the Stairs.
Yeah,
it reminds me of the boys that had their tongues cut out in that.
Yeah, you have an element of that in this film as well.
Yeah, and apparently this injection of bleach into the vocal cords, I can't remember, I think it was Dahmer or one of the serial killers.
Dahmer.
He did this. He did this.
He tried he was into lobotomizing as well. He was trying a different thing. He wanted the perfect subservient sex zombie.
He wanted a zombie, didn't he?
Yeah,
he called them zombies.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't the first time they'll do it, but as soon as they've injected him with bleach and he screams in pain and nothing comes out, they all chant, "We can't hear you, we can't hear you."
And the way they do it obviously means that they've done that before.
Yep. It's like a little game they like playing with their victims.
And they both start singing it, so they've definitely done that before.
and it's time to take a photo, just like Jamie had with his girlfriend. Brent now has a photo with his girlfriend.
And that does now. That is absolutely why we've got his mate in it going along, because it shows you the real what should be, in a comical way, a prom date. And it shows you this, yeah.
This is where we find out that Bright Eyes is the name that they give their mother. So poor Brent is in a world of weirdness. And cut back to Jamie and Mia. They're listening to metal in the car, headbanging, drinking. They're getting stoned. They're having a great time. So
having a pretty good pie. To be honest, I've had a few pies in the car like that before.
Yeah, it's all right. Cut back over to Lola and her fucked up family dinner. Yeah. As I mentioned, Bright Eyes, it seems to have been lobotomized. This is confirmed later on. And Lola starts trying to feed Brent some chicken, and he doesn't want to eat it. She says, "Eat it now." And Daddy picks up the hammer.
Looks at Daddy. Dad's got a hammer.
So he has to suck the chicken juice off of Lola's finger. She makes him blowjob her finger almost, and she says, "Is it finger licking good?" And he's terrified, as you would imagine. Dad's swinging a hammer around. He's been forced to eat all this chicken, and then he says, and she says, "You what?" And he says, "You want the toilet? Okay. Is it number 1 or number 2?
What was she going to do if it had been number 2? Is she going to actually just pull it out?
Catch it in her hands?
Yeah.
Well, he implies it was number 1. So this is a great moment. She picks up, again, I love the actress, Robin McLeavy. She picks up her pint of milk. She necks it in one and then takes the glass, and we know exactly what she's about to do here.
It's slightly odd anyway. People don't generally neck pints of milk. it's just not really the average thing to do.
Why are you eating fried chicken and drinking pints of milk? It's a weird combo anyway.
And that chicken just looks bland as shit.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Ain't no jerk on it.
Well, she takes her empty pint glass and she gets down on her knees. She assumes the position in front of him.
It is a blowjob position.
She tells him, pee in the glass.
While Dad is behind with a hammer, just getting all excited watching.
Yeah. He, however, suffers from stage fright.
I'm going to say that Dad, I would say, is possibly a serial killer before this started happening.
He is not right.
I'm going to say when she was a baby, or when she was not even born possibly, he was possibly a serial killer.
Yeah. He was making people pee in glasses.
I think to then introduce this into it and his daughter to be going along with it, at what point that happened? It had to have been so long ago. I'm really getting into the mind of this now. Have to really get into it,
He gets stage fright and he can't pee. She says, if you don't pee in 10 seconds, Daddy? And Daddy comes over and he says, I killed your dog with this hammer. And basically says, I'm going to smash you in the head with it. No, I'm going to nail your cock to the chair if you don't pee in 10 seconds time.
Not the Jim Rose Circus show.
Pee, nailing it to the... I mean, who did that? Steve-O did that, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he has 10 seconds to get his pee-pee out, and he's straining. You can really see it on his face, the sweat is dripping. He's thinking, please, just one little dribble of wee, please. And when he finally manages to go, just as she gets to 9, and then a little bit of wee comes out and we hear it, and then she says, oh, look, it's crying. Talking about his penis, weeing. She says, it's crying. Everything she says is mental, including the next line, I'll kiss it better for you. Or shall I bite it off? Oh my God, it's getting mad.
Dad's quite excited by this.
Yeah. But Brent gets some balls. He kicks her over. He hops off. He manages to run outside. Quite comical now, this little chain of events.
It's admittedly, he's in a lot of pain. But he does some shit getting away. He doesn't make it very far. He has such an advantage.
Yeah.
And then just cocked it right up.
Well, he runs and Dad sees him, so he gets in his car and he chases Brent, who's on foot.
No, he rolls under the car, first of all.
Oh, that's right, he's hiding under the car.
And he's got the raised brake, gets the ropes off, and the Dad rolls about to drive the car off, so he rolls out of the way, and the Dad reverses back, and he's just there in his headlights, so he goes and runs off and runs up a fucking tree next to them.
And then he crashes into the tree, and then the poor guy then, Lola runs out, and she starts laughing like a witch, and she says, "Where is he?" And he says, "He's up in the fucking tree, Lola."
Yeah.
So they just start throwing bricks at him, like he's Marv from Home Alone. And they're laughing as they try and throw... This poor boy's up a tree with bricks being thrown at him. Eventually, one of them hits him.
Yeah.
And a bit like that gag in Bad Taste, where all the guys just fall out of the tree. We don't really see the hit of the rock. We just see her throw it, and then suddenly his whole body falls out and lands on the bonnet of the car.
Yeah.
Boom. Unconscious. So they tie him up again. They give him inside, tie him up again. This time, Gav, they're sure about him not getting away. What did they do to his foot this time?
Crucify him.
They nail his feet to the floor, one of his feet to the floor, so he can't get up. And he can't scream. All this while, he's doing this horrible noise.
Well, he is still screaming, though. He is still doing the motion, but we can't hear that.
All we can hear is like a little...
It's a little bit like that movie where the people's throats have been slit and they're in the garden.
Oh, yeah.
Hotel...
Not Tourist Trap.
Tourist Trap, yeah, Tourist Trap. Yeah.
Motel Hell.
No,
one of them.
No, Tourist Trap.
Is it Tourist Trap? No, it's not Tourist Trap.
Yeah, it is.
No, Tourist Trap was the one with the dolls.
Okay, that's Motel Hell then.
In Motel Hell, yeah. But yeah, it is like that, and he can't scream. She wants him to cry now, but he doesn't cry because he doesn't know how to cry anymore since he lost his dad. All he knows is pain and suffering.
And this is being like a bully or being like a torturer to the torturee. If they're not getting what they want, they're not getting the kick from it. So him not crying isn't giving her the kick. She likes being in control. He does whatever she says, and that's not happening, so she's not happy. So Daddy,
I don't think I've ever heard the word torturee before, but it probably is a word. Torturer and torturee.
Yeah, I've never thought of it.
Maybe it's the torturer and the tortured. Not sure.
Not if it's in the situation it's actually happened. That'd be a past tense. If it's in the present, it'd be torturee.
Well, we cut away from this and catch our breath for a moment because Mia's dad, the cop, is now searching. He's out searching around with a flashlight, and he finds Brent's iPod. So he knows, oh shit, this boy's lost his iPod.
Because he's been called on a case. A local friend or whatever, so he's like, all right, I'll go out, and he's in like civilian clothing. He's not in his cop uniform. He
goes and knocks on Brent's mum's door. Holly's there, obviously, and she says, look, I found the iPod. It's not looking good, but we'll keep looking for him. Don't you worry about that. So the outside world is looking for Brent, which adds to the tension because you really want them to find him. But Lola and Daddy now show Brent a photo album. They sit him down and they show him a little photo album. And it's their handiwork. And again, it's quite Get Out, like you mentioned. It's lots of missing posters of boys that have gone missing over the years. And she says, they talk about them. It's a bit like Wolf Creek as well. They talk about them. They say, oh, that one wet himself, didn't he? Do you remember that one? He cried like a little girl. Yeah, I remember that one. He was a good one, very handsome, but he didn't last long. No. And they're talking about them like they're just ex-boyfriends of hers. It's pretty crazy. One of the people in the photos is the boy from the opening scene who must have tried to escape.
Which caused him, which I thought that was the case at the beginning, it caused him to have the car crash because there was like a bloodied human walking along the road, which is obviously one of their victims.
And again, just when you think what Lola says couldn't get more fucked up, they turn to the last page and it's Brent, and she says, there you are. And then she says, I'm ready to draw on him now, Daddy. And you think, well, what is she going to draw on him? What does that mean? And we cut to, she has used a fork on his bare torso to carve a heart.
Like you would in a tree.
Yeah, but sort of a heart that's as big as both nipples with a tip going down to his navel.
Initials, the
she's
whole
put
lot.
Initials in it, everything in it. And again, he can't scream. And then Daddy picks up a handful of salt.
And just throws it. And the sounds that he's making, and there's not a huge music score going on really. It's horrible. This film's really. I remember I was watching this going, I suggested this as well. It's almost like my Patreon pick. It's fucking horrible.
And again, they chant, we can't hear you, we can't hear you. Awful. It's like a nightmare. We see Holly in Brent's room. She's very, very sad. So we cut back to that. We cut back to Jamie and Mia. They still haven't actually gone in yet. She's a bit drunk. But he says, look, we're here. We've been here outside for hours. Let's go into the actual prom dance now. So they decide to get out. She stumbles over because she's a bit drunk. And then we cut back to Lola's family. And this is where Daddy announces, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you all to, stand proud for Lola, the queen of the dance. And her king of the dance is Brent. And she says, Daddy, get the paper crowns. Get the paper crowns out. And he puts a crown on their heads, one on Brent and one on Lola, just to add to it. Meanwhile, in the prom...
What if he'd have said yes to her?
I think he'd still be in this position, to be honest, Gav.
I don't know. He might have actually gone to the prom with her.
Yeah, but poor old Holly.
The thing is, though, I've got to think, let's break this down a bit more. Sorry if I'm going to throw the logic of this film out the road. She is at the school.
Do it.
She's at the school, right? She's done this before. Is this every time that she gets declined? Must be.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. No, it can't be, because they got too many victims. It's not that many years she'd be going to prom since she was a little girl. So it might be an excuse as prom just to do it again, because these must have been fairly frequently, I'd say, all over the last few years. So there wouldn't be that many proms. So yeah, it's a more frequent basis this is going on. But if she's at school, they can't all be students at school, because they'd be like, they're gone missing again. Weren't you having an argument with him the other day? Yeah, but I'm just a school kid. Fair enough, you wouldn't have done it. Hang on, there's another kid's gone missing.
They'd be saying 12 boys have gone missing in the last 2 years.
And you've argued with every one of them.
You asked every single one of them out, and
they said no. But they wouldn't catch on to that. But I feel like it's a bit like this would have been shut down.
But I do think now, as we're breaking this down, I do think the Jamie subplot really is needed, because because the next shot, so after that crazy put the crowns on us daddy, and he's
we get a bit of light action
where he is on the dance floor getting wanked off.
I got a friend who this happened to at a place, Pamblewood Ball it was, the kids used to go to. I never used to go to it, and we know the girl and the boy, and I think we classed it as party sausage on the dance floor. I think it was officially named.
I wasn't there. Me in a nightclub.
Was it party sausage on the dance floor for you?
No, it was Reflex, which is an 80s nightclub. I don't think it exists anymore in Bristol. And I went on a work Christmas night out, and I was stood at the bar, drunk, and one of the managers decided they would just start tugging me off at the bar. So I was there ordering drinks, and the guy didn't realise as he was getting all the drinks ready for the round that I was buying that this was going on underneath the bar. It wasn't to completion, I might add. I think too many people started coming over, so it was like, come on, that's enough now. But yeah, it's an interesting bar wank.
Does Alice still listen to the show?
She does. I think she'll probably know that story, but and it wasn't her. She was never my manager. This was about 25 years, maybe more ago. But anyway, yes. So she starts jerking him off on the dance floor.
Was your manager an old fella in his 70s?
You what?
Your manager, wasn't he an old fella in his 70s?
Yeah, he was.
So that was it.
Yeah.
Tugged off by a 70-year-old.
No problem. If it's Helen Mirren, I'll take it. So the teacher walks over in the middle of him getting this hand job. It's not what you want when you're in the middle of it. First of all of his classmates are watching while they're all slow dancing. And then the teacher walks over and he says, that's not appropriate behaviour. If you're going to do that kind of thing, do it off of school property.
The best one, if you've not seen this, listeners from outside of England, there's a TV show called The In-Betweeners. And
oh God, it's awful.
There's a fantastic episode
it's a good show,
where they go to caravan camp for the weekend, and they're in this dance floor, and one of them, Simon, happens to meet up with a lady, and she goes off to the side and starts giving him a hand job. And his mates are kind of standing there, and they're both all like, should we be looking? And he's just looking at them smiling because he's so happy it's happening. And they're also, why are we all looking at each other, sort of thing. It's very funny, you should watch it. But yes, that happens at caravan camp.
Yes. Well, that slow dance with a hand job then juxtapositions to Lola standing up Brent, whose foot is still nailed to the floor, and slow dancing with him. Daddy stands over them, behind them, with on a chair, sprinkling glitter all over them, which I can only imagine stings all the cuts he's got on him already. And the glitter is going all over them. And then she stamps on his foot because he's not really dancing with her. So she stamps on the nail and pushes it further into his... Well, it's not even a nail. It's like a big spike into his foot. And then she says, "Why don't you dance with me, Daddy?" And you think, this isn't going to go where I think it's going to go, is it? And Brent watches them dance. He spots his razor blade necklace on the floor and thinks, great, I'm going to use that again. And Lola leans forward and says, "Daddy, there's only one man I could ever really love." And he says, "Oh, Lola." And she says, "Daddy, kiss me." And he leans forward and they're just about to have a lovely kiss.
Yeah.
But they're interrupted because Brent fidgets a little bit. He sort of squirms a little bit in whatever it is, pain, I don't know. And that's the end of that. And I was thankful so much that was not shown, because at that point my stomach was turning. We cut back to Holly, and the cop says, "Look, don't worry, we're going to find him." She starts crying. "Don't worry, we'll find him. It's all good. It's all good." And then Daddy, back to Lola's house, Daddy picks up the roadkill from earlier and he goes over to a basement cellar door and he opens it up, and you hear lots of voices coming from down there, and you start building a picture of, this is definitely not the first time they've done this. They're keeping a few of them down there. And he throws the roadkill and says, "Grabs up!" Throws it in.
Oh, and it does make you go, what's going on down there?
And then he throws a load of water down there for them to drink. He literally just pours a bucket into the basement.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is not great. And they all sound a bit like Brent. So we know that they've all had their vocal cords injected with bleach. Now, would you recover from that, Gav? I wonder if in time they could repair your vocal cords, sort of flush them out, or...
I don't think so.
You're fucked forever then, really, are you?
I think that's it, yeah, vocal cords.
God damn it. Well, Mia and Jamie, cutting back to them, they have decided to take it back to the car, so they start really going for it in the car now, and they have a great old shag in the car.
Get a bit of get a bit of a Silence of Lambs edited misdirection here, where we have the dad go outside, he walks towards a car, and then we see inside the car a man approaching the car, knock on the window, but it's the head teacher who says, "When I said go somewhere, I meant off the school premises."
He doesn't really... He thinks, look, they're horny teenagers. I'm not going to expel them or... Just do it somewhere else, for God's sake.
Hopefully he wasn't outside for too long.
What I love about that scene is there's a very small bit of comic... just very small physical comedy where she covers up her boobs. He winds the window down, but then he covers his sort of boobs up as well. He's sort of like embarrassed of his boobs as well. They're both like, what? And she's like, "Do it somewhere else." It's just a funny little moment. Very subtle, but very fun.
Yeah. Drilling. It's a different type of penetration goes on here. So we're getting it like earlier.
I love the way you cut straight there. Drilling.
Well, we have like the slow dance going on and the wank off, but then we cut to their version of a slow dance, which is her on his lap, I think, and the glitter being thrown over their head from the dad. Yeah. And it was their slow dance. Then we get to the sex, which is penetration. Now we're going to get into her saying, where the other one said, "Fuck me." This is her saying, "I want to fuck you, but I'm going to use my drill in your head."
Yep. So this is, again, it's Dharma, isn't it? Again, he did this but instead of pouring boiling water in like she does in a moment, he poured sulfuric acid in into the hole in the forehead.
And he kept getting it too wrong. Sometimes
when you think about that, this was a real person that went out and did that. What a fucking lunatic. Well, and he got away with it for so long.
Yeah. The cops at one period, the cops found one of the guys who got away from him outside. Dharma came down and said, "Oh, don't worry about it, we're just having a lover's tiff type thing." And they went, "All right, go on." And
took him back upstairs.
It's like, what?
So Daddy teaches her how to lobotomize a human being with a fucking power drill. He's
saying like, you can't go too far because obviously it'd be death, so there's only a certain fast, and it's just... horrible. She's like, "You'll be my first drilling." Like, oh God!
And then she says, "Remove the king's crown, Daddy. I'm ready to go." So he takes the crown.
She doesn't
off.
push in further enough, so it slides off his head, and it's just like, Oh my God! It's
Well, the drill cuts
horrible.
out, doesn't it? Because she's not doing it properly.
no,
So he
no,
says-
it pushes off his head. She says you got to push in.
and
more.
again, Gav, if this was like a dad teaching his daughter or son, whoever,
Yeah.
to use a drill, you're not doing it. You need 2 hands on the drill, because he says 2 hands, Lola, 2 hands, and he's doing all that, but he's not helping her put up a shelf. He's drilling into this guy's forehead, and while he's drilling, again, all you can hear is because he can't scream.
It's pretty nasty stuff.
And we don't need to see it really. We see blood sort of dripping down his face, but it's enough really. The back of his head is enough to know what's going on really. And then the kettle boils, and just when you think it couldn't get any worse,
it does.
They're gonna pour some boiling water into the hole, and she says, "I'm gonna boil your brain and turn you into one of them." She pours out water, but she's a bit too nervous, and she pours it on her dad's arm. And he says, "Oh, try again. She says, "The hole's not big enough, Daddy. Make the hole bigger." Daddy says, "Oh, come here then, I'll do it." Helpful Dad. So he gets the drill, and this time he makes the hole a little bit wider, enough to be able to pour the boiling water in. But while they're doing that, Brent's cut the ropes with his razor blade necklace. He grabs the drill and sort of knocks it over, so it drills a little bit down, severely cutting Daddy's face. He pulls the stake out of his foot. Again, he's been ready for pain for the last few years. He knows pain. Pain is his friend. He stabs Daddy a lot in the neck. Lola jumps on his back, and they have a bit of a fight. She puts her finger in his forehead hole. He punches her out though, and sort of knocks her down to the floor, almost unconscious, but not quite. He throws Daddy into the basement, and all the boys down there swarm around him and just begin to eat him, don't they?
Very people under the stairs.
Yep. Lola, though, wakes up. She's not quite unconscious, and she also pushes Brent into the cellar as well. And then she sort of screams, "Daddy!"
She kind of goes into shock. Because earlier on, just before she's about to kiss him, I don't know if you said this or not, I can't remember. She's like, I've always known you were the one, and all this stuff to him, like to the dad.
Disgusting.
Really, like I know we've tried with other guys, but I've always known you're the one, or you will always be the one. And it's just like, oh my God!
I don't really want to get into it, but I don't think they've ever sort of done it. But it's almost like she's realising he's going to be the one really now.
It's possibly that she's a virgin, and it's possibly that
he's trying to find her a zombie boy, but it's just disgusting.
She says, "You're the prince. It's always been you."
That's right. You're my
just
prince,
you
Daddy.
and me.
Well, she watches them eat her dad, then she slams the cellar door shut. And in the cellar, Brent has managed to obtain a flashlight, and he sees the others start swarming him a little bit.
Yeah, but I think they see that he's also one of them.
Yeah. And Lola upstairs is looking absolutely deranged.
She's in shock, and she's also deciding what to do. I was like, there's no point for Mum anymore.
Yeah, oh God. Well, we'll come to that in a minute, because quickly, Jamie drops Mia home. She's a bit drunk, and he says, "I danced her off her feet." And it's just such a funny little moment.
Well, he doesn't know what to say to the dad.
Because the dad's like, why can't she stand up? I must have danced her off her feet. But Brent also down there, Brent also sees a lot of animal bones. And he's thinking, well, fucking hell, these guys have been feeding on like roadkill and whatever. How am I going to get out of this? Lola decides, as you said, Gav, she doesn't need her mum, Bright Eyes, anymore, does she?
No.
What does she do? Pops up to see her, doesn't she?
Yeah, it just kills her.
Grabs a pillow. And she says...
Because her mum's the bottom, I was staring out the window. Just sitting.
She says, "Good night, Mummy."
Yes, yeah.
And just
it's a fucked up movie, this is.
Holly starts thinking about Brent. She's thinking, oh man, where could he be? What is going on? And then she remembers Lola Stone. She grabs the phone and she calls the cop, Mia's dad, and says, he did say that a girl called Lola Stone asked him, and he's like, well, any lead's a lead. I'll try it. So he heads out to the farm. He knocks on the door, No answer, of course. He looks through the kitchen window. He sees blood all over the floor. Pulls out his gun, breaks the window, breaks into the house.
The trouble is, though, he's still in civilian uniform, and at this point, when he sees all that blood, he should at least phone the police.
Or radio in.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Just do something. But instead, I guess he's in the moment. Brent hears somebody breaking in upstairs and thinks someone's here to rescue me, so he tries to scream, but of course he can't.
But the cop hears and opens up the doors.
Yeah, he hears banging from the basement, doesn't he? He opens up the doors, and then Lola creeps up behind him. She creeps
up behind him, and he tries to tell her, but that's too late. And she's hammered. It's hammer time. He falls into the pit.
Hammer time in the
But
pit.
she drops the gun. He grabs the gun. He tries to shoot her, but she realises, gets out of the way, and the disco light gets it instead.
And he empties the clip into nothing.
Pow, pow, pow.
Lola runs. She grabs a knife, and she says, I'm going to go to your house and stab your mummy in the neck, just like you did to my daddy. Then I'm going to stab Holly in the heart, just like you did to me.
Frustratingly, the only person that she meets on the road happens to be Holly, but we'll get to that in a sec. But she's walking along the road all blooded up, and it's very much end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
But what great dialogue that is. I'm going to go to your house and stab your mummy in the neck, just like you did to my daddy, and then I'm going to stab her in the heart like you did to me. Great dialogue, and delivered in such a deranged manner. It's brilliant stuff. So yeah, she walks barefoot down the road with a knife, with blood all over her. She's just walking along. It's daylight now, so the mornings just start coming up. And yes, we see Holly driving along in the distance. And something hits her window. I think it's the scrapbook that Lola has thrown. Lola opens the door, and she's covered in blood. Obviously, Holly's first thoughts are, oh my God, are you okay? But then she sees the razor blade necklace around her neck. Instantly knows.
But instantly, Psycho just dives at her with a knife, a big knife. And this does almost show you how scary it'd be to have someone doing that, attacking you with a knife. And you're stuck in a car. You're kind of in a disposition with it anyway. But she manages to fend it off and come out of her side of the door onto the floor.
Yeah, they both fall down onto the floor, and Holly manages to kick Lola in the face really hard. We cut away from that as Brent uses the only means he can to climb out of the basement by piling up all the dead bodies. Jesus Christ. A staircase of bodies. This movie is dark, man.
I know. I didn't think this when I was watching it. I ate my dinner to this.
Oh, good for you. What did you eat?
Chicken enchiladas.
So if you're going to watch Basic Instinct, guys, a ham sandwich Gav recommends. If you're going to watch The Loved Ones, chicken enchiladas. I'm surprised you didn't have chicken with a pint of milk.
Oh.
Just like Lola's family. Brent has to now overcome his fear of driving. He jumps straight in the police car.
That moment, I just decided to watch Basic Instinct on my projector. Huge. And I just bite into a ham sandwich just as Sharon Stone just reveals herself as
her ham
a
sandwich.
Strange dichotomy.
It was her ham sandwich and your ham sandwich. It's not really a scene I'd ever imagine watching on a projector, though. Imagine that in IMAX.
I know.
Bloody hell.
Everybody just looked at each other. Did you see what I see? Imagine that.
Jesus Christ. He drives a police car. He's speeding down the road. You know, he's overcome his fear of driving. He swerves around Holly and he hits Lola. She screams when she sees him. Holly does, and then she recognises it's him. She hugs him, and then Lola is crawling towards them, still alive.
But what was interesting, obviously, she's standing there. He comes over to rise in the car. He wasn't going to drive again. His first time in the car again, and it's kind of must be around the same place that he killed his dad. Happened, must be. Not far from where it was, yeah. So it comes over, and she's there. He swerves around again, exactly the same as swerving around
that kid.
Yep, exactly the same situation. But luckily doesn't go straight into a tree and just stops. But instead runs over Stalker.
Yeah, and she's now pretty fucked up. She's got a bone sticking out of her wrist. It's great practical effects, and she's crawling along.
She's like the Terminator.
Angry. She is.
She will not give up.
And he's in the car with Holly, and he looks
it's
at
close
her.
up on his eyes. We all know, and I reckon I did watch it at Fright Fest because it's one of those moments at Fright Fest where the whole audience go, yeah!
Because he reverses the car, And it's not going terribly fast, but it is reversing towards Lola, who's lying in the road. And we get this amazing close-up push-pull zoom on her face now, really slow, just tracks in, and you think they're not going to show it, are they? And then they do.
Just
they
a flash,
show her head,
a very flash.
a quick flash of her head smacking on the bumper. And then we get a very small scene of Brent, pulling up to see his mum, and Holly's there, and they all hug. And that's the end.
Yeah.
And my note actually says, this is very much the Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets The People Under the Stairs with an element of misery. Actually, there is a bit of misery in this as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I agree.
But you also, I agree with you when you said it's got some hostile stuff in it. So that is The Loved Ones.
Yeah, if all of those films are your bag, then this film might be your bag. I recommend it because it's an horror movie, but at the same time, I'm probably not going to revisit it. I'm probably not going to watch it again. It's quite. There's not really happiness going on.
It's a one-hit wonder, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a horror movie. It's horrific. Horrible things happen in it.
Yeah, I can imagine, because this was your second viewing and you weren't as impressed the second time around.
I reckon the first one was like 15 years ago though.
But the first time around, you're going to really. I was impressed with this. I give it a solid 7 out of 10. Really was impressed with the acting and the story and the dialogue and the script. But I can imagine a second watch, and I probably would watch it again in a few years, definitely. But it might not always be as impactful. But because it's not just a torture porn film, it's got homages to all those movies we mentioned. Plus, it deals very gracefully with grief, with depression, with self-harm, and it's got some lovely little fun moments with his best friend Jamie in it as well. Because all the way through, you're thinking, is Jamie going to be the one that saves him? And it doesn't. All Jamie does is get laid, which is, he's had a brilliant night. So I was thinking, like, when they meet up a few days later, and he's like, oh, you weren't at prom, Brent. What happened? You look terrible. You've got a hole in your head. How was your night? And Brent tells him what he does. And then Jamie says, oh, well, I just got drunk, stoned, got laid, and then me and Mia are now an item. So we're doing all right.
Yeah,
sorry to hear that.
He had a great
old time. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a thumbs up from me, and I think a thumbs up from you, Gav. Thanks for recommending that. And it's a great Australian horror film that I'd never seen before. Great director who went on to do Devil's Candy. Probably just check if he's done anything else. Actually, I'll just do that now because I'm sure he's one to watch. Sean Byrne is the name. He's done The Loved Ones, The Devil's Candy. No, he's not really got an awful lot going on. He's got a few things coming up. He's doing an Aussie film called Dangerous Animals.
Oh, good.
Oh, that could be a bit of an exploitation when animals attack sort of film.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
See if it's got any. Yes, it says a surfer is abducted by a shark-obsessed serial killer and held captive on his boat. She must figure out how to escape before he carries out a ritualistic feeding to the sharks. So he wants to cut her up and feed her to the sharks. That sounds good.
That'd be right. Actually, I'll give you another movie that's being made currently right now. Adam Green's directing a new film. And, we all like Frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's doing the same sort of film, but it's 3 people stuck in a hot air balloon.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He's shooting at the moment. Imagine that's a bastard to film.
Yeah, that would be probably some green screening in there, I should imagine.
Or you're in a hot air balloon as well. I don't know. Filming it from one. I don't know.
It was actually torturer Robert Berdella who would inject bleach into people's vocal cords, by the way.
Not. So, yeah. But I know lobotomizing was Dharma.
That was Dharma, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go, guys. Well, look, talking of loved ones and sexy Valentines.
Sexy.
Bill Murray's just walked in and he is
dripping with sex.
He is wearing a full-on gimp outfit. What's all that? Vaseline. Of course it is. I think he wore that for the last Valentine's episode.
That's at least 5 litres of Vaseline.
Oh, look, he's showing us his assless chaps. Look, he's showing us.
Oh, put them away.
Bill, they're very low down, Bill. I know you're getting on a bit, and those are some low-hanging balls.
Look, just bring us into it, Bill. Stop it.
Ease us in.
Slip it in, Bill. I mean, tell us what's going on. Come on.
Hi, welcome back to World of the Strange.
strange.
World of the sexy.
World of the strange. Oh, welcome. Well, thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Please do not sit on any of my furniture with all that Vaseline all over you. You can just stand in the corner. Yeah, on that paper, on the newspaper. That's right. Thank you. Right, so, because it's Valentine's, Gav, it's time to get sexy. It's time to talk about love. It's time to talk about objectophilia. Have you heard of the word objectophilia?
More than likely, Sarah's probably told it. We've probably done a bloody episode on it, and I can't remember. So, no, go for it.
It's where people sexualize an inanimate object.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, we've heard about people who have sex with their cars or their furniture.
Pretty sure I have done this on episodes.
But I'm keeping this quite classy.
Okay.
Because I've got a list of people who have married, so it's more than just sex, they've married objects.
Now,
here we go.
No, but how is this allowed? Obviously a registry office type job, but it's not obviously a church type thing, because I don't think God in God's Bible recognised objects as sexual or partners, life partners. So how is it allowed as an object if it's not a beating heart human talking person?
I think you can just have like a ceremony,
right,
of sorts. You know what I mean? I mean, we'll start off with Erica Labrie, who married the Eiffel Tower. Straight in there.
I don't know what to say. Tell me stuff.
2007, this happened. She's an ex-US Air Force soldier.
Of course she is. As in, she is bloody now. You don't want bloody people marrying Eiffel Towers running around defending your country.
She fell in love with the famous landmark after visiting Paris several times.
But come on, I've fallen in love with a place. God, it's decent there, isn't it? Not once did I go fucking marrying it.
I love Cadbury's Whispers. I'm not going to marry one.
Does this mean though that they can actually marry properly a human being?
Well, she got married in a small ceremony with just a few close friends.
Well, who's standing next to her? Miniature fucking trinket.
Is the Blackpool Tower coming? Is Leaning Tower of Pisa?
Yeah, who's on the family? Who's on the groom side?
Imagine all the buildings.
Just loads. So all the builders that built it. No, they're all dead.
Empire State Building's running late. Oh, for God's sake!
Yeah, it's different buildings. What the fuck?
Erica got married, as I say, in a small ceremony with close friends, and she's legally changed her name now, so she now goes by Erica Eiffel.
But the Eiffel Tower can't say yes or no.
She called the Eiffel Tower...
I feel like this is an abusive marriage.
She's called the Eiffel Tower her wife, so she sees it as a woman. And she says, her structure is amazing. She's got subtle curves, you know what I mean.
All right, so as soon as this happened and she left the ceremony, did she... Where is this person? America?
She's an American lady, yeah.
Did this happen in America, or did she go to France, in Paris?
She went to Paris, got married
to it. So as soon as it happened, did she then go over to it and like touch it and kiss it and rub herself on it?
I don't have the sexual details of this, Gav.
It's not like I really want sexual details about it. Dan, give me your sexy words.
But all she said is, I love her. She's got subtle curves, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but people like their cars. You're going to tell me someone's married their car, aren't you?
I don't think that one's on this list.
Okay. I know a blow up doll. Someone married their blow up doll, I think. Or,
Gav?
Doll, not blow up doll. It's a bit old school.
My next story, there's one word to kick this off. Florida. Linda Ducharme married a Ferris wheel that she calls Bruce.
Bruce. Oh, Bruce.
Bruce. She met him at a carnival in 1982.
I name you Bruce.
She dated Bruce for 30 years.
What?
Until she finally decided to tie the knot to this Ferris wheel in 2012.
What's that mean? What does this mean?
I love these. However, in 1986, a severe storm damaged Bruce, which forced his retirement from the carnival.
What's her name?
Her name is Linda Ducharme.
Linda, I've got bad news. What is it? Your husband has been damaged by a storm. So is it bad?
She bought his remains and spent thousands of dollars getting him restored.
Fuck me.
So they can spend the rest of their lives together.
No, they can't. She can.
Her quote is, "Bruce is my world. I think about him constantly. It only feels right when I'm with Bruce." A Ferris wheel, Gav.
It's weird. To tell you the truth, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit what anyone does. Honestly, as long as you're not hurting people or harming people or animals or whatnot and doing bad in the world. So, fair play if you want to. I suppose they're not going to talk back to you. Or, you know, you're not going to say, no, I don't want to watch the EastEnders tonight. So, yeah. But still, it just seems a bit fucking ridiculous.
The next one isn't a surprise. Aaron Chevenik married his phone. In a small ceremony in a Las Vegas chapel.
What happens when it's sexy time, though?
Oh, put some porn on the phone, guess.
Bow, bow, wow. Yeah, but what are these other objects? I don't know how you get sexy with them.
He married the phone in a chapel in Vegas, and he said he wanted to make a point at how dependent he is on his phone. He said, if we're honest with ourselves, we connect with our phones on so many emotional levels.
Is this an artistic statement?
I'm not sure.
He says, is this a cry for social fucking likes?
He said, our phones help us to calm down, help us to sleep, and help us to ease our minds. And that's what a relationship is. So my smartphone has been my longest relationship.
I watched Her recently. I found that really interesting.
Yeah, it's good. It's all right.
Because that's right. That might take, if, you know, within 10 years, we have an AI relationships people being.
Well, the next one isn't an inanimate object in some sense. Sharon Tendler.
Oh, Sharon?
She married a dolphin called Cindy.
Dolphins are horny.
They are. She married Cindy in Israel. Apparently, they were engaged for 15 years.
The dolphin knew nothing of it.
Before they officially tied the knot.
The dolphin knew nothing of it.
Because a marriage of a dolphin and a human is not legal.
No.
She said, it's not a perverted thing. I love the dolphin and he's the love of my life.
Yeah, I watched a horrible documentary once where the guy married his dog because he'd been loved his dog. Like, but you know, like there's other shit going on with the dog. Yeah, that's just like, dude. You know.
Well, sadly, Cindy passed away a few months after they got married, as they didn't realise that he was a very old dolphin. So there we go. Amanda Liberty married a chandelier.
Hanging.
She collects hanging lamps and chandeliers. She's got over 20 of them in her house. She says, I have an open relationship with all of them, but my special chandelier is a 91-year-old lamp called Lumiere. I'm determined to have this commitment ceremony with him and prove to everyone I'm here for Lumiere the chandelier, and my love with him is going to last. She also had a small fling with the Statue of Liberty.
So two people have got it on with. Oh no, sorry, Statue of Liberty and Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower.
Two structures though.
I know.
Builders of major erections.
Well, here's another one for you. Elijah Ritter married the Berlin Wall and has been married to it for 30 years.
What? It's knocked down though. There's some parts still there.
She says, I first met the Berlin Wall when I was 7. I instantly fell in love. It's the love of my life.
I feel bad. I've got a piece of it in the living room.
Oh, don't tell her that. She's changed her name to Berliner Mauer, which is Berlin Wall in German. So she's now Elijah Ritter, Berliner Mauer. 30 years they've been married though, Gav. That's pretty decent.
Oh, fair enough. It must have been a fucking... When the people in Berlin were just like, so we could go get a big clump of that, knock it real small, put it in a little thing in a box and be like, beats the Berlin Wall. And actually, that is a really important thing and we could sell it. Yeah. It's fucking amazing. So I bought one.
Well, in 1989, when the wall was torn down, she was interviewed and she said, what they've done is awful. They've mutilated my husband.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a mutilated husband.
She hasn't had the courage to go back to the Berlin Wall and see the remains since.
Yeah.
But good news, she's currently dating her garden fence, apparently. Bit of a step down, really. But...
Wow. As far as I remember, there's still quite a lot of the Berlin Wall still there, but it's all like graffitied up and shit, and art and stuff.
I went to Berlin.
As far as I remember.
You remember Anthony that came on my stag do? His stag do was in Berlin, and yeah, we saw it while we were there. That was probably about 10 years ago now.
He is my stoner buddy. Yeah. Stag do.
Good guy. He ate some rather strange cakes with you, didn't he?
Well, glad I was like the only one in the car which just didn't speak for about 2.5 hours, and then gave it to someone else. I know you got on it, but I gave it to him, and then he didn't speak, and I was like, yes.
I had a little nibble of it, but I had to maintain because I was expected to drink constantly for 3 days straight.
Yeah, I was
back when we used to drink, Gav, that wasn't it?
Yeah. I was pretty mashed that whole weekend.
It was a good one.
From as soon as you got in the car, I was like, I've gone. I'm out of here.
I was handed a bottle of rum and told, try and drink as much of this in the 4 hour journey that you can.
Man, that drive was fucking hardcore with those brownies. That was really hardcore.
The worst thing was, after we'd arrived at the town, the seaside town, and I'd consumed about 80% of a bottle of rum and had a nibble of a brownie, we then went straight to a brewery where I was expected to taste different beers and ales and rums.
There's a photograph of you with the reddest eyes I've ever seen from the brownie, and me next to you going, ah!
It was good.
While you're testing booze.
It was good. Well, similar to the Ferris wheel, I've got a roller coaster now, Gav.
All right.
A 35-year-old church organist from Pennsylvania called Amy, or her name's Amy. She fell in love with this roller coaster when she was 13. She's been on the ride over 3,000 times. Finally decided she would marry the roller coaster.
That's it, you bitch. I'm marrying you.
3,000 rides.
We've had our ups and downs.
I know what you did there. She said, I was instantly attracted to him, both sexually and mentally.
Sexually?
And mentally.
He would go down on me.
I was... I like the Big Dipper.
Ooh.
She said, I wasn't freaked out whenever I went on it. It just felt natural every time I rode on him. Oh.
Is this a carry-on movie?
She says, I couldn't tell anybody about it at first because it didn't feel normal to have feelings for a fairground ride. Yes, look, Amy, of course it isn't fucking normal.
Sharon, I've got something to tell you. Sharon, Amy, have been having these feelings for something for a long time. Is it my boyfriend? No, Sharon, it's not your boyfriend. It's a roller coaster. Do you think I'm weird, Sharon? No, Amy, I do not. Taken from the Love Coaster.
She says her and her roller coaster have a very fulfilling relationship, and she's never jealous when other women ride on her husband.
Oh my god.
She sleeps with a picture of him on the ceiling.
Fuck me, what?
And she carries some nuts and bolts from him in her pocket. So a part of him is always with her.
Medical attention. She needs help.
Also, why has she got nuts and bolts?
She needs help.
She's gone there and taken some nuts and bolts. This is Final Destination. It's going to be destroyed.
This is going back to having bits of rock. As a kid, I went to the castle in my town, did a trip with a school trip, and there's a little bit of it. And I put a bit of rock in my pocket, and I was like, I've got a bit of a castle. Don't know what happened to that.
Don't know what happened to that. Well, let's go to Taiwan, where Chang Si-seum married a Barbie doll.
He's definitely got that Barbie doll caressing his schlong, hasn't he?
He said, I've married the doll because it contains the restless spirit of my dead wife.
No, it doesn't.
His wife died of suicide after they were married, shortly after they were married, because his family didn't want them to be married and didn't like the fact they were married, so she killed herself. So he then got married to a second wife.
Right.
But he was very worried that his first wife's spirit wasn't at peace. So he decided to marry the doll to keep his restless wife's spirit. It's pretty fucking complex here.
It is.
He got married in a Buddhist temple to show his Barbie doll the simpler way of living life. The Barbie wore a wedding dress and a gold necklace that belonged to his late wife.
Ghetto.
He's happily married to 2 women now, he says. His real wife and his Barbie wife.
Wow. How did that happen when he met the new wife? By the way, there's 2 women in my life, so you're going to have to share. What the fuck?
So...
Did she go, oh, that's quite sweet. Your poor wife died, and you just kind of feel like it's in a Barbie doll. That's kind of sweet. And you remarried it. Still, I guess, kind of sweet. Bit creepy. Sweetish, I guess.
It's when he brings it into the bedroom that you've
It's
got...
like, do you mind if she watches in the corner? And I guess not. It's kind of sweet, but not sweet if you want your wife to watch. I don't know, your dead wife. That's weird. Can she join in? What do you mean? You know... And let that imagination roam.
Well, this next person, Nurul Hassan, married a video game.
Fair enough. What game?
Tetris.
Nice. Good choice.
Fucking Tetris. I suppose it's quite sexual.
I fucking love.
Blocks going into...
There's positions, so it all fits nice and tight.
Oh, Jesus. She says the relationship started in 2016. And she spends...
A bit late?
She spends more than 12 hours a day playing Tetris. Fucking hell.
Like, where was she in the 90s? But
12 hours a day?
That's quite a lot.
I have a very intimate relationship with Tetris, and I even engage in physical activities with Tetris-themed objects, like cushions in the shape of the shapes.
I go to the car and pack the car in a Tetris-type way. This is like definitely some OCD-type fucking thing going on.
Everything in her house is to do with Tetris and Tetris shapes. She has lamps, T-shirts. She even has limited edition Tetris hard drives. She says, I think Tetris is so beautiful because it's about perfection and it stimulates my mind and body.
I can understand in a certain way there's a sense there's a sense of organisation and tidying going on here, and it's there's a piece of calmness to that, I feel.
She says, before I married Tetris, I was dating a calculator named Pierre for some time. And after that, briefly, I dated my iPod before finding true love with the video game Tetris.
Wow.
An iPod. Wonder how many gigs of RAM that was. RAM?
I wonder.
Yo Ye, Chinese man, 39-year-old Chinese man, married a life-size picture of himself.
That's a bit vain.
The picture of him is wearing a red bridal wedding dress. He says, the reality is too dissatisfying for me.
This is some artistic movement again.
And marrying myself was the only way I could truly feel happy. He had a traditional wedding with his friends and family and some curious villagers who followed. And he followed all the traditions and ceremonies. He said marrying himself doesn't make him gay. He says, I'm a narcissist. I'm not gay. Fucking hell. Marrying myself is a process of deconstructing and then reconstructing myself. I make use of the wedding to reconsider opposite-sex marriages. My behaviour might seem ridiculous, but I am a traditional man and conservative in my heart, so the wedding is traditional. I think Dennis Rodman married himself, didn't he?
Dennis Rodman's also wearing wedding dresses too, so I don't know.
Yeah. I've only got 2 more.
Yeah.
Another building for you here. Carol Santa Fe.
What is it with fucking buildings?
At the age of 9, Carol...
I know they're erections, but...
At the age of 9, Carol Santa Fe fell in love with the love of her life, Deidre, a train station in San Diego. A train station.
I feel like getting confused with the love of life. She's 9.
Yep. She says, I adored Deidre train station for 36 years before finally marrying it in 2015. She meets at the train station every day after commuting for 45 minutes to it. She talks to the train station, tells the train station about the day, and has mental sex with it as well. She says, we don't have actual physical sex because the train station is a public place, so the sex happens in my head.
So she's just standing there and they're like, oh, there's fucking Rosemary, wherever she is.
Carol.
There's Carol. Moving her head around. She's just thinking about the train going in and out of that tunnel.
She says the train station is very romantic. This is why it's the love of my life. I've got a private area in the train station with less crowds where I can touch the walls and feel as if I'm kissing the train station.
You like a private area?
But I have to be very careful around people because I don't want to get caught and I don't want to get banned. Because apparently I've read about Erica Eiffel, the woman we spoke of earlier, who has now been banned from the Eiffel Tower.
She changed her name to Erica Eiffel.
Yeah, but that first woman we talked about has been banned from the Eiffel Tower because she was seen having too many displays of public affection. She was obviously humping the Eiffel Tower.
She's obviously having a wank.
And I like the way that in this story she's dissed that woman and learned a lesson from her.
We grow and learn.
The last one is Bill.
Is it Bill Murray? Bill, is it you?
He's giggling. No, this is Bill Rifka, a 35-year-old psychology student. Bill fell in love with his iBook. He said, it's common for people to marry objects, to give their objects a gender, and to me, my Mac is a man.
What happens when there's an update?
He says, I'm living in a homosexual relationship with my MacBook.
What? But when there's like the new models come out, does he just stay in the past with the same one? How does that work?
Well, before marrying his MacBook, he did date 2 or 3 laptops beforehand, and that's where he started to realise, this is for me, hard drives.
What the shit?
So as I've said, these people are all called objectophiles or objectosexuals. And, yeah, that is Lord of the Strange.
Wow, ladies and gents. Non-gender people, robots and everything else.
Eiffel Towers.
Glad you enjoyed that. Yeah, Eiffel Towers.
Gav, what are your final thoughts on those people?
Do whatever you like, as long as you're not harming people, or animals.
Well, I don't think any of them were they really? They were all, having fairground rides.
They're doing whatever they want, and that's fine. I don't. There's loads of shit in the world I don't get. I walk down the street and look at people's fashions, go, I don't get it. So, whatever. Do whatever you want. It's love. Love is what it matters, and love is all you need.
Oh, hang on. Bill's asking me something. I'm not going to ask him. Okay. Gav, Bill wants to know, would you marry his erection?
Is it something you built, or are you on about what's in your pants?
He's talking about that thing there.
No. That is not getting anywhere near me. Stay there and turn around.
No, he's turned around. Now I can see his butt cheeks. He's wearing assless chaps.
That's better.
It is better.
It's just 2 fleshy circles then.
Bill, if you could just come over here, careful with that Vaseline, and
back up as well. Don't turn around.
Take us out of World of the Strange, please, Bill.
That's all the time we've got for this week on World of the Strange. Next week, though, gimme Ira. Hairless pets. Weird.
In January, a message from an extraterrestrial source was picked up at the Parkes Observatory in Australia. A new sequence of DNA, friendly instructions on how to combine it with ours.
This growth is amazing.
The decision was made to terminate the experiment.
He's breaking out!
She escaped. We have a serious emergency on our hands. I want a team to track her. Hunt her down.
You created a monster, now you want us to kill it.
We decided to make it female so that it would be more docile and controllable.
More docile and controllable. I guess you guys don't get out much.
She wants to have a baby.
She'll kill anyone that gets in her way.
I wouldn't hurt you. Yes, you would. Just don't know it yet.
She could have a dozen babies. She could lay 1,000 eggs.
Something's wrong.
She's here! Yeah! Open the damn door! Hey!
Oh, God.
Species from 1995, rated 18, an hour and 48 minutes. A group of scientists try to track down and trap a killer alien seductress before she successfully mates with a human.
In other words, a horny alien is on the rampage.
It's such a interestingly fun concept, especially it's definitely a 90s film.
Yes, this film is a bit of a comfort blanket for me. I've got it on VHS.
Yeah, I know this film. Funny, I've never ever owned this movie, but I've seen it tons of times because it's always like on ITV or something. It's always on telly.
It came out around at the same time as The Relic, and I kind of do consider it in the same ballpark as The Relic, which we have covered, particularly because Michael Madsen in this reminds me a little bit of Tom, what's his name from The Relic, you know?
Tom Sizemore.
Tom Sizemore.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a hard man playing that kind of...
Yeah.
But this cast is pretty fucking stacked, isn't it?
It's a really weird, diversive cast, but it's one of those sort of ensemble casts where you've got your Magnificent Seven or... You know, and you need something with a few people in it. And this is, at the time, these are quite fairly big actors for the mid-90s.
Yeah, so we've got, as we mentioned, we've got Michael Madsen in this, you know, hot off of the Tarantino movies, and Ben Kingsley in this, Oscar-winning Ben Kingsley. Fuck knows what he was doing, but I guess he needed to pay some bills, and that's great. And I'm not slating this film, I'm just saying this isn't the sort of film you'd normally see him in.
No.
Alfred Molina's in this as well, as a lot of the younger listeners would know as Dr. Octopus from the Spider-Man movies, but also, you know, he's in Indiana Jones, and he's a very famous British actor. Forrest Whitaker is in this as well as Dan the psychic. We've even got Michelle Williams. This was her first role, who plays the young alien, who was not married to, but pretty much married to Heath Ledger for years. They had a child together. She went on to win an Oscar herself. This movie also introduced the world to the model Natasha Henstridge. So much like the Terminator, which this film is a lot like, much like Terminator 3, where they just plucked a model out to play the Terminator in Terminator 3. They plucked a model out who'd not really acted before to play a sexy alien.
Well, Sarah said, I know why you like this movie.
I mean, it came out in 1995. We were all at a certain age, but also there is a good, fun vibe to this movie. It's a B movie, let's be honest, but it's a B movie with a little bit of pedigree in the cast.
It's kind of a B movie with an A cast.
And don't forget, on top of all of this, we've got H.R. Geiger.
B movie with A production.
Yeah.
You occasionally get those. Geiger came in to help. And some of those sequences... He
fucked up the production a lot because he was very angry about what could and couldn't be done and how some of the sequences looked. He had a bit more of a hand in it than they would have really liked. The movie he wanted was about 2.5 hours long. And they were like, Geiger, we cannot just let the director, let the producers do this. And he was like, no, if you're going to use my designs, I need a 20-minute sex scene and I need this and that. And it's like, it's not going to work. Just let us do what we're doing. And he didn't really like the film, even though they used all of his designs. He didn't really like it because he felt it didn't fully show his art. Which is great. I mean, I love Geiger. I think he's a wild, crazy genius, and I love all of his artwork. And, you know, we love the Alien movies. But I don't think he probably should have had as loud a voice as he did in this, particularly in this film. But you're right, A-list cast. And at the time, the effects were fairly good. Some of them are towards the end of the movie. The effects are pretty ropey now. But some good CGI for its time.
Yeah, Steve Johnson's the main effects artist here. Is one of those rock and roll makeup artists, you know.
Yeah.
You should talk of. Yeah. He did it. He's pretty good art. He's pretty good makeup artist.
And not just makeup, but like effects as well. Like when she's born out of the cocoon, they had really good ideas to do that. You know,
makeup effects, not makeup.
And why we love this film, and I know why you love this film, Gav. And obviously we picked this because it involves, you know, a sexy alien trying to mate. And And that's a Valentine's thing, if ever there was one. But the reason we like this film, particularly you, Gav, is because there is a real detective element to this. There's a crack team of people, all with specialist skills, and they're hunting throughout LA. They're hunting this. They're on the track, and they never quite catch her. They never quite catch up to her.
It's that classic thing. They all get out of the moment, but they're all sitting there going, "So what? So what's your train of profession then?" And they're going back and forth. Well, if I'm here, then the shit's definitely hit the fan.
Great dialogue, cheesy but great.
And it's a group of people of different professions don't know what they're doing there. It's like Jurassic Park on the helicopter, and they're going in. They don't know why they're there. And they're all different professions, so it's the same. Godzilla, Roland Emmerich's Godzilla, that's the same thing. We've seen it before, but it's a tried and tested, and we like it. So yeah, I'm a fan.
And as I mentioned in the intro, this is really a mashup of Terminator and Basic Instinct, but with like alien vibes in it as well. Obviously the Geiger stuff, but also because it is an alien. But certainly Terminator, as she gets cleverer and cleverer. Sil, the alien, Natasha Henstridge, she starts to learn better ways to avoid them and evade them, and she even starts, trying to fake her own death, and she is like the Terminator because she just comes for you, man. Particularly Alfred Molina, boy, does she come for him later on. But she's great in it, I think, considering she's not acted before. I think she's pretty decent. She doesn't have to do a lot other than look beautiful, but she does some good action, and she's believable in it. And yeah, it's a favorite. It's a fan favorite, and I love this. Like I said, like I love The Relic or Anaconda. We were starved for good sort of creature films in the mid-90s, and we were getting them with Anaconda, Relic, this, Lake Placid, and a few other ones. And this was an alien one. We didn't get many of those sort of alien movies around. And
yeah, it's a weird choice, especially sort of this time. You got to remember, this is when we were having that weird moment of horror. This is just before Scream's about to take it horror into a whole new realm.
Horror was like walking around in a circle, not knowing what it was.
It was a weird one. There's different movies. I bet if you looked at the list of sort of films, horror movies that came out in 95, I think because I remember we've done it because we've done the Time Team, and I remember it being, because I remember saying, oh, this is interesting because of the Scream, and it was a really weird time. This is probably one of the highlights. And this becomes more, if they're just selling this to the execs when they're making it, it would have been sci-fi before the name horror came into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it did well enough that they've made 3 sequels
Action
to it.
Sci-fi, I'd say this would have been.
They made a sequel to this with Natasha Henstridge, and I think Michael Madsen was in that as well. Then they made a third one which Natasha wasn't in, and no one else was returning in it. And then they did a fourth one, which I said to Gav off air. The fourth one feels like a group of college classmates got together and made a really poor Species movie. It's not worth it. I wouldn't even bother with the third one. The second one's all right, but the first one is where it's at, really.
You say about Ben Kingsley, like he must have been like desperate or whatever.
Not desperate, but it's just an odd choice of film for him to be in.
He done 4 films in '97 alone, and voiced a computer game. Like that's not sitting around. I know that's not. Yeah, that's not. That means also if you did that, they're fairly quick fucking productions.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be the most expensive. So I would say with someone like Ben Kingsley, he likes just to act. You get that kind of with Anthony Hopkins a little bit, and it's just an excuse to act.
He would have been the most expensive actor to get in this. Probably him and Michael Madsen.
Michael Madsen would have been up there at the time. Who else? Because you've got the lady who's I only know her already from the redhead with her fucking old school 80s haircut from CSI, the original CSI. And
Marge Helgenberger.
Forrest Whitaker. I'm just going through Ben Kingsley's roles at that point. Obviously he'd done, Gandhi. And some sort of stuff which is very big.
Forrest Whitaker wasn't very big back this point. He'd done a few films.
No, yeah, he was doing stuff for sure. Yeah, it's really interesting, and like obviously you got Alfred Molina, which is great because obviously you know him from Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first guy. Give me the bag.
Yeah.
And then really good as the guy that they try and take his drugs and his money from Boogie Nights.
Yeah, and he's amazing as Dr. Octopus.
And yeah, he's a real fun actor. And it's really he's such an interesting guy to have there because he's a good actor. He knows how to act.
And he's this British guy in the middle of all these Americans, although Ben Kingsley is obviously. But I mean, the character, he's the only one with a British accent. So you've got him thrown in the mix. They're all weird.
It's a really
mix of
weird. Okay, so again, dichotomy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like, kind of like all of them really, and it's quite weird. Michael Madsen and Marge, Preston Lennox, we say for Michael Madsen, and then the red-headed lady from CSI, Dr. Laura Baker. They seem to have like a flirtatious thing going on, which is it's a really forced chemistry. Michael Madsen looks like he has no chemistry with her whatsoever. It might be his acting ability, I don't know. Might be reaching it too far. But yeah, it's a strange one. It doesn't. It's okay when in a hotel room later on, but it seems a little forced.
My wife said Michael Madsen in this reminded her of a cross between Vince Vaughn and Matthew Perry, which I kind of see when you're watching it.
Yeah, but I do like it. Should we get into the film?
Yes, indeed. Let's do it. So. Species. We start off, of course, in space.
Very, very B-movie sci-fi title we have.
I've got here space B-movie vibes.
Yeah.
There we go. Exactly the same as you. And I've also written what we've already discussed was wow, what a cast.
Are we saying with the producer? I think when this was made, the age would probably be on the production crew and stuff. It probably grew up with those 50 sci-fi films. I'm taking a guess.
Yeah, even like Carpenter's Thing and things like that.
Yeah.
There's something about the opening of this. It even has a Predator element to the opening of this. You know what I mean? We start off very far away.
What's the score with this? It feels like it is a novel.
I think it was just a script that was being shopped around.
The same writer wrote Golden Child.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wrote Virus, that one with Jamie Lee Curtis.
There we go. Similar vibe.
All the other species, but hasn't written much, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird movie. Why did Hollywood at this time? But I think I answered it earlier. They didn't really know what was going on. Horror's in a weird state.
Because, Gav, Sex Sells and Basic Instinct, all the Sharon Stone movies were coming out in the 90s.
Is it like someone finds Natasha and says, we've got this lady, maybe she does some pin-up stuff, people start to know about her. Obviously this is pre-hardcore internet, that's for sure. Internet was there, but not really like it is now. Do you think it's a case of like we have this lady, she's beautiful, people know of her, she's quite a thing, she's the thing at the moment. Do we have you got anything which we could include in a movie? Because her acting's absolutely fine. It's that Terminator thing where it's taking someone and saying, really, you got to kind of act like an alien or a robot, so it's a kind of stilted performance. So even if you're the first time acting, you could probably pull off a fairly alright performance if you got a director pushing in the right direction. So it's a really interesting film, but why they made this, I don't know. But I'm glad they did. It was kind of fun.
Well, and those are the best films, is where you watch them and think, I wonder why they made that. I was talking to our buddy RJ about films like this recently, and one of the films that we were coming back to was bloody hell, that naked vampire film. Toby Hooper.
Yeah.
Naked Space Vampires. What's it called?
Can't remember.
You know the one, Life Force.
Yeah.
Why did they make that?
Boobs.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, they didn't make it boobs. I'm just commenting. That movie.
But it doesn't matter, and I'm glad, because the best films are always ones where there's no reason that they made it. It's not like there was loads of Alien films out at this point. I guess there was some Alien movies, like Alien 3 or whatever, but yeah, I'm glad they did. So there we go. And we are at SETI, which is the Search for Extraterrestrial Life and Intelligent Life. And this is the government facility where they are keeping a little girl. played by Michelle Williams in her first role. A little blonde girl. She wakes up.
So we've seen this before, haven't we? But do you think at that stage in '95 we'd seen it? I know we would have done a little bit, but since then we've definitely seen zombies putting in chambers and things, and just all different things, creatures and things. Obviously, aliens is a big one, but we saw that a lot later on in like the Prometheus and that.
But Alien 4, she was being grown in a lab as a clone.
Yeah, I guess we have sort of seen this before, so we kind of know what's going on, and it's kind of it's a real sad one almost with this, isn't it? And it goes to show like it's just a thing. But the idea is this fucking, as Malcolm Madsen says, so let me get this straight. This thing came from space, and you injected it into a little kid, or they injected it in something and it grew a kid, and now the kid's turned bad and evil, and you want us to kill it. Basically. That's what they've done with this thing. It's come from space, and it grows so quick. But we'll get to that. We'll get to it.
So the little girl wakes up in a lab, and
all in like a glass, like fucking greenhouse, if you can imagine that.
And Ben Kingsley is watching from behind a glass up on a balcony while some scientists are preparing some gas, because they've decided this is too dangerous. We're going to blast it with cyanide gas and kill it. Now, this little girl is probably, what, about 8, 9, 10?
I'd go between 8 and 10.
And Ben Kingsley's looking sad because he knows, we've got to kill this thing, and also it looks like a little girl.
She classes him as Papa. It's Stranger Things, isn't it?
And he says, it is a little bit, yeah. And he says, bye-bye. And they begin the gas starts coming out, and she freaks out, and she uses her alien DNA strength to punch through the glass. She's really strong. She escapes. The army gets called in, the choppers.
Well, it's a whole thing. It's quite nice the way she escapes.
She jumps a fence, doesn't she? A really high fence.
Yeah, he says, I'm sorry, and they start to pump gas into that chamber, then she breaks out. The effects list, looking at IMDb very, very quickly. The effects list is one of those movies. We did this recently. We watched a movie, and I checked the effects list, and it was like, what the fuck? It's huge. Like, this one is huge as well. It's visual effects as well as actual digital effects. Crazy lots. Also, very quickly, just saying, the score's really good.
Yeah, it's got a good pumping 90s sci-fi score. Again, a little bit Terminator as well at times.
Yeah, the score is by Christopher Young, which I'm trying to find out. I'm pretty sure he did Hellraiser. Score, which is a great score. I don't know. The it's a proper orchestration, and the music list is absolutely bonkers as well. I've got to have to check out what the budget is on this movie.
There's some great 90s R&B in this. Because they go to a lot of nightclubs and drive around in BMWs in the 90s in this, and there's some great R&B and sort of dance club tunes that you'd recognise as well. Oh,
there's a bit in this where I'm just like, where the fuck is Michael Douglas with his sweater? Like, where the shit is he? I'm looking for him at the nightclub scene. It's like, where is he?
And instead you've got Ben Kingsley just stood at the bar drinking a whiskey.
Yeah, I guess, like I said, this is an A production. It fucking is. Like, the list, an IMDb list is like, that ain't no B list. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just through how much it is.
Well, the little girl escapes. She hops on a train, like a freight train, which then leaves the station, and then a pervy old tramp sort of jumps. Don't know what he's going to do to her, but before he can do anything, she kills him. We don't find out quite how she kills him yet, but she kills him. And they arrive at the train, and all the scientists are saying to Ben Kingsley, well, could she have got on a train that quickly? Is she that fast? And he says, she is that fast. So he's sort of saying, this thing is
super,
fast, it's strong.
And growing, it's kind of like evolving continuously. And very quickly, the composer has pretty much composed everything you can fucking think of. Hellraiser, all the Hellraisers, Fly 2, randomly. Copycat. I'm just going to say some of the horrors very, very quickly. Urban Legend composed score. The Gift. The Grudge. Exorcism Emily Rose. Spider-Man 3. Ghost Rider. Just loads of stuff. Drag Me to Hell. So
nice.
Sinister. Like really good. Really good stuff. Oh, The Ghostmaker. That's that film I suggested my friend did the effects for. The one where it's the people.
Oh, yeah.
Very quickly, I'll say that. A group of friends use an ancient coffin to experience the world as ghosts inspired by true events. Yeah, check that out. Beta scored that as well. Anyway, I digress.
She gets off the train in the middle of a busy town. She walks into a store. She's hungry. She's about to try and shoplift some food, but she's chased out of the store. She jumps back onto a different train, an actual people train now, like a pedestrian train. And while she's on the train, she steals a bag from somebody, and she finds inside of it a very 90s mini TV. Love this little TV.
And it's her first experience of television. So she's, well, she also has that when she gets to the hotel room as well.
Yeah, and she's never watched TV before, so she's watching it. She's got a load of cash that she steals from the train, because she can just bust open the register office. Sorry, the cash register is what I'm trying to say. And she fills up a bag with bananas and food because she's, like you said, she's growing and evolving. She needs to constantly be eating.
Yeah, this is when she's on the train. Yeah, she sneaks in. She manages to steal some money. Goes to a little cubicle, carriage. Sorry, couldn't think of the fucking word. And with the money she stole, she just kind of hands some money to the lady, and the lady's just like a real nice person. Says, "Oh, you just need that money. I'll tell you what, if you're travelling by yourself, someone picking you up, yeah, okay, look, let's just pay that. Then you only pay half price. All right, being real nice to her."
She says to her, "Are you 12?" And she says, "Yes." And she says, "Well, let's pretend you're 11, because if you're 11 or under, you get half price fare, all right?"
Yeah, so it's quite good. While this is happening, though, the dead homeless person who's fucked up...
He's like snapped in half.
Great effects. He's been found, and so they're on the case. And I love these bits straight away from the get-go. I love the fact we've got this straight away from the movie starts. It's basically a chase movie, a hunt movie, which is such a fun fucking film. The quest is easy. Everybody, even if you've got fucking one brain cell, can understand what is going on in this film. And I love the bits where you just keep going back to the team, discussing what to do and their own agendas.
Well, the government say to Ben Kingsley, "Could a little girl have done this?" And he says, "She's not a little girl." And he says, "Look, we can't let the public know about this, because we can't just say, oh, there's an alien on the loose. So we need to assemble the A-team." He doesn't say that. I'm saying that now. And this is where we start to meet some of the members. We first of all meet Michael Madsen, who's sort of helping his neighbour with her cat. Because he's,
just before we've had this through this movie, we have these very Geiger-esque alien sex flashbacks where two aliens are having sex, and it's like kind of floating in this blue kind of visuals. We keep having this as a flashback she keeps going to, and we've just had one of these, and then we cut to this this team.
It's because, and the reason for these flashes is because Syl is evolving and changing and about to cocoon herself and grow bigger again, and she is having a vision of like what she's to become, which is this basically it's sex machine.
It's it's evolving. Insane though that at some point there's going to be a guy out there who's going to be like, "Yep, I had sex with an alien. I literally put my penis inside an alien." That is pretty weird.
It is. We also meet Forrest Whitaker's character Dan, who he's a psychic, and he's sat with his psychiatrist.
He's like
he's a fun character in this.
He's like the most full-on psychic possible. Like he's got the strength of 1,000 psychics. Do you know what I mean?
At one point, Ben Kingsley's like,
"Which way has he gone? Come on, man, which way has she gone?" And he's like, I don't know. "Oh my God, you don't know!" In a Ben Kingsley way, and he stomps off. And it's because he didn't know, because she was just there in the water sort of thing, confusing his psychic abilities. But he uses him, Ben Kingsley uses him like it's a fucking a computer or something. Yeah. I ask you, you answer me. It's like he's a psychic. It's not like he's just like, oh, it's over there. It's not a directory, for fuck's sake.
On the train, Syl starts dreaming about the train turning into a big spiky penis type thing and chasing her. And then she's eating all the food, and her skin starts blistering, and
Eats
she looks
bananas
a bit
without
strange.
peeling. Just gets in there.
So she looks in the mirror, and she sees tentacles start coming out of her face, and that's where she starts to turn into a cocoon. All these tentacles come out and wrap her up in the corner of a train carriage. And
I would have fucking loved the A-Team episode, which was this.
Imagine BA going up against this.
I ain't getting on no train.
Yeah, but you know that Face would end up shagging the alien, wouldn't he?
No, it'd be like, oh my God, are you saying that you think Face, that girl that he went off with earlier, is the alien? Oh, Murdoch. Oh, Hannibal, we gotta get him. Let me do it. And it's just, that'd be fucking great.
I feel sorry for that crazy alien.
I would love it so much.
So the team
Murdoch or Hannibal. No, probably Hannibal would come in pretending to be the ticket guy.
Yeah. Hannibal would have a moustache on, wouldn't he?
So good.
So the team are assembled by Ben Kingsley now, and we meet them all. We've got Michael Madsen, Forrest Whitaker, Alfred Molina, and Dr. Baker. Each of them sits down and starts explaining their skills. So
I'm sorry, I'm now thinking of the scenarios we can have with AI later on in life. I can have Columbo stalking a serial killer, like a gnarly serial killer, anything like a Giallo, with Columbo with his raincoat and Giallo.
Well, you could have
Do you know what I
Silence
mean?
of the Lambs, but instead of Jodie Foster, you could have Columbo going in to visit Anthony Hopkins.
But I think it's got to be TV episodes, but you can also just fucking change it. That'd be so good.
So this team discusses what they all do. So Dr. Baker, she is a biologist, I believe. Obviously, Ben Kingsley is the one who organised the entire Alien program. He'll explain that to them later. Alfred Molina, he's the biologist. The lady, Dr. Baker, she is an expert in anatomy and alien and bugs and creatures and animals. Forrest Whitaker's character, Dan, he is a psychic. So he's been used by the government many times to help track down serial killers. And then Michael Madsen, they say, well, what do you do? And he says, well, let's just say, whatever I do, if I've been caught in, the shit's hit the fan, like you said earlier. And basically, he's like a bounty hunter / I don't know what you'd call him, used by the government to hunt, track, and kill people. And he's the best because he's Michael Madsen. And they're all just like, okay, looks like we're all in some serious mission here then. And
ticket lady, nice ticket lady, goes to check in on the girl. She says, it's a bit late to still have your TV on. Walks in the room and just shit everywhere. There's food wrappers, everything. She's like, what the hell? Walks into the bathroom. What is there, Dan?
There's a big pulsating cocoon in the corner. And as she turns the light on, the tentacles grab her and pull her into it. Yeah. And then a naked Natasha Henstridge flops out of it.
I tell you what, if I was going around, I suppose I'll go see if that kid's all right. You all right, kid? Oh, you're not there. What's in the bathroom? That's a bit weird. Oh, shit, that's a huge, massive fucking cocoon pulsating. I would turn around and leave.
Yeah, don't worry about your ticket.
She just kind of goes, with her mouth open and slowly walks towards it. What are you telling me? That's possibly not your normal day, but could be.
And this is our first shot of fully grown Syl, played by Natasha Henstridge. Good effect here where they shot it sideways, so it looked like she was being born and falling out of it, but they actually pushed her up through it. And she flops out covered in sort of cocoon slime.
Naked woman falls out of sack.
Yep. We've all been there. And and she sort of stands over the dead woman on the floor, and that's all we see of that. And Ben Kingsley then says, I'm going to tell you all a story about why you're here.
Yeah,
and he says,
it explains.
He says, SETI is the search for extraterrestrial intelligent life. In 1974, we sent a message up to space. It had things like DNA, the population of the human race, all that kind of stuff in it. And then in the 90s, 1993, we got a message back. In fact, we got 2 messages back. The first one was a nice message that just sort of gave us some information on how we could turn methane, which is a very harmless gas, it just smells a bit but obviously it's flammable. We can turn methane into a fuel, which means we don't have to ever worry about running out of energy again on this planet. Now, hang on a minute, Ben Kingsley. Don't just skim over that. Why the fuck aren't the government doing anything with that?
Because they can't make money off it.
However, the second message we got back was a DNA sequence, and it was an alien DNA sequence.
The second message was a formula, which we decided to just inject straight into an embryo and see what happened. What?
Yep. And he said, so let me show you some
instead
video
of the
footage.
clean energy for the world, we decided to do this instead. What?
I love it. And he shows them some video footage of the little girl. He says, look, this is the embryo when it was 1 day old. And the next day it's like a 5-month-old embryo. And he's like, and this is 2 days. And he's like, this is a week. This is a month. And he's like,
a month.
Then
She's about 6 years old at a month.
Yeah. And then he shows the girl that we met at the beginning. And he's like, she's a year old here, but she's actually 11, you know.
And here's the video of her escaping. And now she's off hunting and killing people. Well done. Or we could have had clean energy.
So this is where Michael Madsen does this brilliant summary of it, where he just says, so let me get this right.
Yeah, it's just like...
If I understand what you've said. And then Forrest Whitaker does he's brilliant in this. He does his, she's scared. She's a hunter. She's a predator. She's got eyes facing forward.
How does he know this from just them talking about it? That's what I want to know.
Well, they say to her, he says,
like he does nothing. He doesn't hold anything, or
he
has
says,
you know.
But it's funny because he's saying all this stuff, and he says she's an apex predator because she's got her eyes facing forward, but she can see the distance between her and her prey. And one of the girls says, "How do you know that?" He says,
"How?
I saw it on the Discovery Channel." Yeah, he says, I saw that one on the Discovery Channel.
But it's like, does that mean that he could be anywhere in the world and just go, I could go straight into any person anywhere in the world and go into their psychic abilities? No.
Yeah,
no.
because he's Forrest Whitaker.
It's not,
and he's got a funny little hat on.
Any listeners that are psychic, please come in and tell me if this is legit shit.
Legit shit. So, cut back to Sil. She is in disguise now in the train conductor's outfit. She gets off the train.
Fits her fairly well. I'm going to say the lady before was a little more robust than this very slim van. It fits her really well.
And about a foot shorter than Natasha Henstridge.
It's a little baggy, you can see, but it's like, no, hang on. That lady before you was not in that costume yet, uniform.
No. But she enters the population of Los Angeles. She is now in the crowds. Oh boy.
Yeah, I would have said probably better. No, that does fit because she's a blonde and that. But if you want to go to Crazy Town, San Francisco.
The A-team arrive at the site of the dead train conductor. They see the cocoon and they said, what's it? Well, it looks like a cocoon to me. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. Brilliant. And then they realise LA is the perfect town for her. It's a city where anything goes. Everyone is
and it's the 90s.
On the go. It's the 90s.
Hyper techno colour and all sorts.
And all sorts going on here. So great. She's going to easily find someone to mate with here.
Another thing about them fucking clothes. Are you telling me also the woman who the ticket inspector who slowly went, oh, what's that big thing, and then pulled into it and killed, those clothes are going to come out with not one spot of dirt on that white blouse.
Or any rips or anything like that.
Smashing blouse, but it ain't dirty.
Sil walks into a bridal wear shop and she buys a bridesmaid's dress, which she looks beautiful in. And there's a lovely lady who says to her, are you foreign? So she's learning all the time. She says, yes. She says, okay. LA can be dangerous. Look after your money. You've given me too much money. Here's how much this dress cost. Here's your change. Look after it. Because she's just got it all screwed up in her hands. So she's learning to say, so she now knows if someone questions her to say, I'm foreign. And that's a good way of getting out of situations. So she's learning. She explores LA. She checks into a hotel room. And the guy says to her, okay, that's fine. Here's your room. You've got the honeymoon suite or whatever. She goes upstairs, and this is her second TV experience now, Gav, isn't it? And this time it's all porn, commercials for beauty products.
It's not porn. It's sexualised adverts, which we know.
No, there's a sex scene. She watches a bit of porn on there as well.
Oh.
There's a little bit of porn. She's flicking through all the channels, and then
she is flicking.
Oh! Cut back to in the lab.
And she earlier, by the way, on that, she did keep noticing pregnant women all the time. She just kind of took a notice to them.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, back in the lab, they're saying to Ben Kingsley, "Look, why the hell don't you just grow the DNA rule without injecting it into a human? Because we don't know what this thing looks like. The human face is obviously a disguise." And he's like, "All right, we'll do that then. Come on then. Let's grow it in the lab and make it grow into an actual alien so we can see what we're dealing with." So they're doing this, and one of the cameras shuts down in the sort of area that's sort of sectioned off. Michael Madsen, who hasn't got a fucking clue about engineering or science, says, "I'll go in there and I'll fix the camera." What? Why you? Because I'm brave.
I think I'm pretty sincere. I was like, what the fuck's he going in? Like, yeah. Honestly, and actually, why is the scene even in this film? It's not really even required. It's just an action scene. But yeah,
it demonstrates that him and
it's
Dr. Baker's relationship starts up here.
Basically, she's a doctor. She does it all the time. So she's like, "Oh, the camera's gone down. I can fix it." And goes, "Well, we can get a tech up here in like a few hours." No, not a problem. This always happens. Goes in there. Okay, I expected some real tech shit. Do you see what they had to do? They unscrewed a cable and took the camera out, put another camera in and screwed the cable back in. I was like, you're telling me you have to have a tech person before you can carry on your experiments to do that? So anyway,
well, it's a fairly tense scene because they replaced the camera.
It's a quite a fun scene, but at the same time though, which is really funny, I know we're going to get to it, that when they do finally escape out the door, it takes cut about 2 seconds. Door open, door shut. Ben Kingsley's like, no, I can't open the door. I can't do it.
Protocol.
I've got to follow protocol. I can't do it. And it's like, why?
Well, look, we're jumped ahead there. And so basically they go into this sealed off lab where this DNA is to replace his camera. They're wearing hazmat suits. They've replaced the camera.
It's very Thing almost, or Thing and Alien, isn't it, here?
It is. And Forrest starts saying, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Something's wrong here.
It's also like very much like that film Life.
Oh yeah, it is.
Which is good, a fun film. Yeah.
Good movie.
We should cover that, by the way.
The alien, because it hasn't got any human DNA to hold it back, begins growing even quicker than it did when it was in the human DNA. So it already turns into this big grey blob that starts trying to smash out of this box that it's in. But Ben Kingsley can't let them out, like you said. He's like, I can't break protocol. I got to keep them in there. And if something happens, I can't let them out. And they're like, let us out. And then the tentacles start chasing them around the room. And the others eventually override him by pulling him away. And Alfred Molina hits the button and lets them out of the room. Now, if I was Michael Madsen, the first thing I would have done is punched him in the face when I came out of that room. But he doesn't. Shame. And then they hit a button and they set the room on fire and burn whatever that thing was that was growing. So there's a waste of time. They never got to find out what it looked like when it was fully developed anyway.
The camera did get changed.
Yeah, but then it got burnt immediately.
Then set on fire.
Brilliant. So you're right. In some ways, it is a waste of a time we've seen, but it's fine. It is what it is.
It's an executive said, boring, we need some more action. So they just threw that scene in.
Also, it's a little bit of tension so that Dr. Baker and Michael Madsen can start having the hots for each other.
Yes, and it gives character development. It shows Ben Kingsley is doing it by the book and doesn't care about human civilians.
That's true, actually, you're right. And it shows Michael Madsen is brave.
Yeah, this is where our sexy alien...
Hang on a minute. I'm just imagining like a scenario where Michael Madsen's in your house. And you're like, oh my God, the lights have gone out. And he's like, I could go and change the light bulb for you if you like. No, it's fine. I'll get an electrician. He'll be here in 2 hours.
Electrician to change the light bulb? Let
me go and do it for you. All right, Michael Madsen, you change my light bulb for me then. Why? Because I'm brave.
I can do it.
He's gruff, isn't he? He's gruff.
I love this. Our sexy alien goes to a receptionist hotel and says...
Well, she puts on some normal clothes now.
And she's like, where can I meet a man? Oh no, this is after he said, I need a credit card, zip zap. She's like, oh okay, and takes it and says, there you go. Just does it, and then she says, where can I meet a man?
No, she says, where can I find a man?
Where can I find a man?
And he's like, oh right, there's a nightclub just around the corner. And he manages to swipe the credit card she's got.
If it'd been me, I'd been like, there's one right here.
And this alerts
That's
the
where
team.
she looks at you up and down and goes, no. Oh.
This alerts the team, this credit card, because it was the conductor's credit card. Straight away they get in, oh my God, the conductor's credit card has been used in a motel.
Yeah. So it comes up. This address. We're going pre-internet here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's good. And Seal enters the nightclub.
Fucking hell. If Michael Douglas is not dancing in his V-neck, I'm a bloody monkey.
I want Michael Douglas in this, and I want the vampire from Fright Night as well.
Yeah, both of them just dancing away in their jumpers.
Together.
But I swear, Michael Douglas is in this fucking place. Absolutely guaranteed.
It's Basic Instinct vibes, isn't it?
It so is.
It really is.
And Michael Douglas just looks so weird and creepy.
So we get a good bit now where we're reminded that Syl, although she is this beautiful woman, she is a predator. She's an alien, and she's working out how to get what she wants. And she's about to go and speak to this hot guy what she thinks is a hot guy, when this girl comes over and says, I need to go to a party, take me to a party. And she thinks, right, I need to take that woman out because she's my competition in getting a man. So she follows this woman into the toilet.
It's a really weird reason, isn't it?
The woman's like, sorry, honey, all's fair in love and war. And then she goes and sits on the toilet for a pee. And this alien hand just smashes through the wall and rips her spine out.
It's a little bit... Obviously, the whole movie's unrealistic, but it's a little bit like, how'd she get round there? How'd she know? I guess her alien senses.
But she's learnt now, so she goes up to another guy and says, take me to a party.
So is that a kind of predatory thing, say like Animal in the Jungle or something? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
a female
I need
lion.
to take out the other competitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wants to mate.
Yeah. She finds this guy who looks right out of fucking Juice Bigelow. He looks like the male gigolo who goes off to France. And she picks him up.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the team are looking at CCTV footage from the motel. And they're like, well, it's not really good footage. We can see that she's blonde, but where could she have gone? And the guy says, oh, I sent her to the nightclub around the corner. She said she wanted a man. And they're like, great, let's go.
Yeah, it's quite good that they're so close on her, like really close behind her.
Well,
like they're just before her. Like, yeah. And they go to the she's gone off and they go to the club and they're basically sort of saying like, what sort of person we're looking at, and they kind of because of all their skills, they kind of know the person that she's looking for, and they've kind of realised that she is actually wants to mate, and because they're just like fuck. Later on, they're discussing like what happens if that was a kid, that if it's a boy, he can then go and have sex, and like that's just craziness because that'd be well taken out. It'd be run by aliens, essentially. Or we could have clean energy. Once again, you fucked up, didn't you? Jesus Christ. Aliens take over the world or clean energy. What do you fancy, guys?
Well, if it was a boy alien that she has as well, he's going to rape his way around.
Good hand or bad hand, the aliens said when they sent the messages, didn't they?
They gave us a choice, and Ben Kingsley made his decision.
Oh, I think aliens aim in embryos. Don't
forget, they discover the girl's body in the toilet.
Yeah.
As well. So they're on they're hot on her heels.
So they kind of know, because they've got their skills, they kind of know the person she's after. So they say to them, like, we're looking for a guy. He's probably a friendly guy, actually. He probably would have left it. And they're like, oh, Robbie.
Yeah,
Robbie.
he's a regular.
Robbie did it.
Robbie is a rapist. And he gets what's coming to him.
Yeah, well, Robbie goes in. He's real stylish. He clicks his fingers and the lights come on. And he clicks his fingers again.
He says
and the cheesiest music comes on.
He says to her, I'm going to go take a shower. He puts his finger around her mouth and says, you don't have to join me, but if you feel like taking a shower, that's where I'll be.
He takes his clothes off and goes, he's like, I've got disco stink on me.
And he goes for a little shower. She strips off all her clothes, but she looks at him and something makes her feel weird. And it's because he's not a perfect specimen. He's got diabetes, we will find out.
Yeah, which they find out very cleverly straight away at the house because they turn up.
And that reminds me of Predator versus Alien, where it won't kill Lance Henriksen because he's got the cancer.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Won't bother putting in him because it might make the alien or whatever be bad. Yeah, so she's the same principle here. She's like, I don't want to have my kid because it's going to be bad, possibly.
She says, I've decided
to change my mind. And she's just taking her boobs out. He's naked. And so
he says, well, you're here now. You're not leaving.
Yeah, and he gets all rapey. But this is where the rapist gets it.
Yeah, because she gives him a kiss, but then we look at the back of his head and I guess a xenomorph type tongue thing bursts out of the mouth
back of his head. Shoots him, kills him straight away. At this point, we've got our Michael Madsen just really approaching with a handgun up to it, but he's too late. And
they find him dead on the floor and realise she hasn't mated with him. He says, because he says
she did shower, by the way, very quickly, so she's clean again, so she's not like got blood all over, and she's back out in LA. And
Michael Madsen says, "Well, I'd say they haven't mated because the guy's still got his shorts on. That's how he's.
That's how he realises it.
Because I'd have my shorts off."
To be fair, it would have had to have been very quick sex for him to do it and put his clothes back on.
And then they find the needles, and then they realise he's got diabetes because they find the insulin. So they start realising she's looking for someone who doesn't have any sort of defects or diseases or anything like that. She's looking for a decent specimen.
At this point here, with my filmmaker's eye, I don't want to put me into this, but when I did Shadow of Death at the beginning, I did a bit where the camera doesn't stop and it goes around all the characters, just moving things right at the beginning of the film. It's to establish characters. Anyway, it's done quite a lot in Giallos. That's why I kind of got it from, where the camera roams around. Here it's done. For no reason at all. This camera is restrained and locked off, and not locked off, but it's on tripods, it's on cranes, it's on dollies. At this point here, it goes handheld while they're in that room, and the camera just moves around to each person. It doesn't stop, and it keeps going back and forth. And it was a really weird choice to go there. It makes it very like independent cinema. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Makes it really flowing, but in a handheld way.
And it means they've all got to really act and remember their lines. And
I don't understand. Oh yeah, totally, because it's all in like a piece. But I don't understand why they've done it, because that's a real style change, especially for then, to go like that. And I think it's to try and make it more hectic and inclusive.
Yeah.
Is what I can imagine.
It looks good though. And Sil steals this guy's black, because of course he's got a black convertible BMW that pumps out R&B from the 90s. So she drives off in that, and she falls asleep and has more sex alien dreams about what she's supposed to be doing. And she wakes up. Oh gosh. She wakes up in the car. It's run out of petrol.
She goes for a walk, literally leaves the Beamer, goes for a walk, and she don't have much luck here, I've got to say. She gets a hit and run, basically. She gets run over.
Well, it's because she's so hot, Gav, because the skateboarder whistles at her, and then someone looks the wrong way, and then a car swerves, then she gets hit. She gets smashed through a bus stop.
So it's her fault for being hot.
She's too hot. She gets smashed through a bus stop. Meanwhile, the stolen car has been reported by a cop who's found it.
And our A-team have just started discussing the whole male, within 6 months if she had a baby, and it's a male that could take over the world.
Yeah. We're in trouble. She's in hospital.
She's in hospital. Basically, we have this stud come along in his convertible, jump out of the convertible and go, "Hey, smell my cologne. I've got a Harry Chestnut medallion. Let me help her to go to hospital. Make sure she's alright. I'll tell you what, I'll pay for her hospital bill on my credit card."
I know, and the woman behind the counter's like, "Wow, there aren't many men like you out there."
Yeah, weird, creepy and perverted, I reckon. We're meant to believe he's been a nice person.
But while she's lying there on the hospital bed with a fucked up shoulder and all this bruising and cuts.
I love the fact that this guy does this, and he does seem to be fairly alright, his character they've chose to cast his character. I love the fact, though, that he thinks this is like true love. In his world, he's just watched a Clark Gable movie or something, and he's like, "This is it. This is true love. I'm going to pay for a credit card." They think, hey, she's going to come too, be like, fall in love with me. She's a fucking alien. She's an alien.
He is quite a nice guy, really.
Yeah. So she thinks it's a whole true love story. Like, you're in the wrong movie, dude. All of a sudden, you've just, get out of here quick.
Well, she heals herself up with weird rippling of the skin, and then all of
the doctor.
And the doctor's like, "What the?"
The doctor's
what
like,
the
just
fuck
saying,
is going on?
"Nurse can go out there." He's looking at back, going, "Okay, this is the problem. We got da 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 da." Then all of a sudden, it says, "What happens?" And all the bruising just vanishes.
And then she gets up and runs off.
And he's in shock. And she just walks off. It's a good little bit of acting from him, actually.
And then she runs out, and he's like, "What the hell? I just dropped you off. You were severely injured."
So she leaves with him. Yeah.
She says, "Please take me home." And he says, "Okay." Takes her back to his house. And
it's true love. She loves
He's
me.
got a lovely little garden with a hot tub.
I love my little place here. It gets me away from all the traffic out there.
Sometimes I don't even feel like it. I'm in LA when I'm sat here.
I can feel the breeze through my pubic hair and ball sack.
Brilliant. Well, he gives her some food. And he says, "Hey, let's take a picture." And he's got an old camera, Polaroid camera. He takes a picture of them together. And meanwhile, the team are tracking them down. They get to the
BMW, which is stolen, and they're told something weird happened in a hospital 2 blocks away.
Yeah, so they go to the hospital, and they discover this doctor says, "Well, I just can't explain it, but she came in with really bad injuries, and it was healed up straight away." So they go to the receptionist and say, "Who paid for a medical bill?" She's like, "Some guy. I've got his credit card details here. Here's his address." It's a great way of keeping them on the trail all the time. Thank God everyone uses credit cards in this film. That's all I'll say. So they go to his address. Meanwhile, while they're on the way there...
How quick would this movie finish if they all had smartphones?
Or how long would this movie have been if she just paid cash and everyone had paid cash and there was no trace by credit card?
That'd be a longer movie.
Meanwhile, they're on their way to his house now. But we're back at his house now, and he says
he wants to take a picture, doesn't he?
I'm going to get. Well, they've done that. He says, "I'm going to get in the hot tub now." And she just gets butt naked in the hot tub.
She's like, "What is this? It's a hot tub."
And he looks at her like, "Oh my God, is this actually happening?" Or this naked chick in the hot tub.
Instantly goes towards him, starts kissing him. He's like, "Whoa!" And she starts trying to put his shorts off, and she's like, "Slow down."
And then his phone rings. It's them trying to call him, the A-team, and he's like, "I better get my phone."
Why? Yeah.
Why?
Okay. I said this to Sarah, like, what the fuck? Why is he instantly like, "Hang on, stop this, sexy lady. I know you're naked kissing me, but my phone is ringing, and it might be the takeaway man or something." Well, fuck off.
So Michael Madsen and Dr. Baker arrive at his house, and she senses them at the door. She's like, "Uh-oh." And then she turns to the guy in the hot tub and says, "I want a baby." And he's like, "Excuse me?" And then she just drowns him in the hot tub.
She goes all alien as well.
She does. She goes all reptilian. And he's dead in the hot tub. And she goes off and hides out in the garden over the fence.
She kind of puts like a tube down his throat. It's quite, yeah.
And while she's in the garden, she's spying on Michael Madsen. And she's looking at him. Michael Madsen's going, "I can't find her out here." And the others arrive.
Can we one day we could do this now though? I could re-record voices for movies and we could redo them. You could be Michael Madsen, I'll be someone else.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Always. And obviously I'd love to be Donald as well.
Yep.
Haven't done him for quite a while. Imagine him on the trail. "She wants to mate."
It'd be really slow though. He'd just be shooting, think, "I thought it was an alien. It's someone in a costume. I've shot them all."
Evil. Pure
Evil's everywhere.
Well, you could replace Ben Kingsley and have Loomis instead. You're like, "I grew her in a lab.
I decided clean energy wasn't the way forward."
Methane, no. Alien, yes. Do you think Ben Kingsley just did it because he knew she turned into Natasha Henstridge and he might get laid?
Don't know. Sexy.
Maybe.
Dripping.
Maybe. Anyway, they can't find her anywhere, and she stays hidden in the garden. There's some pretty good dialogue here, and then
she's watching them in the garden.
And then she turns human again, and she uses her sort of naked female form to get in a car with another woman who sees her in distress and thinks, "Oh my God."
Also, very good. They need to check if he's had sex. And I was like, how do you do it very quickly? So they went with like very, very quickly. They somehow accessed all of the water in the hot tub for semen.
There's no semen.
And there's no semen. Like, how quickly did you do that? And what if the semen had gone through the filtration system in the hot tub?
What if the semen's in her?
How did you do that so quickly? Because I was thinking, how are they going to achieve this? Are they going to quickly give an autopsy there and then and cut those balls open or what?
Jesus Christ. So she gets in this woman's car and says, "Help." And the woman's like, oh, of course. And then that's all we see. Later on, she's in the lady's car, and she can lip read, because she's an alien. She's lip reading what they're saying. And she knows exactly what they're planning. She knows exactly what their next moves are. She's very clever, Gav. She's like the Terminator mixed with Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone would have made a great Terminator, by the way.
Yeah.
Michael Madsen and Dr. Baker seem to be getting a bit closer. There's some flirting going on there while they're talking to each other.
I want to see my packet.
She says, do you have girlfriends? And he goes, I guess you could say, no, they don't stick around long. And it's like, there's a bit of sexy flirting going on here.
Yeah.
Syl follows them in the car. Back at the hotel, she follows Michael Madsen. She just watches him get in the lift, but nothing more comes of that.
Yeah, interesting, because I thought she was going to then prey on him, but she's evolved so much with her intelligence as well, and as a hunter sort of species thing, to that now she's going keeping tabs on them, and they have no idea. Like, she's that clever. Do you know what I mean? Because she could be miles away and get the fuck out there and doing what she's doing easily and get away with what she needs to do, which seems should be the primary objective of her. So I find it weird that she would then be... They must be... It goes back to that woman and her killing her at the discotheque because she was possibly a threat to her going forward with her thing. I feel like she has to annihilate this lot before she can have the baby. And also maybe she thinks I'm not going to go for Michael Madsen because he's quite strong and will suspect me, whereas later on when I go for Alpha Molina, he's got nothing wrong with him. He's quite intelligent. It seems a really silly choice, not that clever, because Natasha, like that alien, the way she's looking there, how easy do you think it would be for her to get laid? Easy peasy. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. My gosh. She just needs to get on a train, go on a train, even on a train, when I have sex with me, yeah, cool, brilliant. Done. But no, she... Absolutely... You'd be absolutely no chance, would you? What do you mean? Of course, I'd say no. No way. No way, love. No way. Look at you. You're stinky. Look at you. She wakes up in bed next to a woman, the woman that she jumped in the car of, who is now tied up next to her. She says, please, just let me go. She's like, I can't let you go. But it's funny, though, she doesn't kill her, though. Is that it's not because she's a woman. Oh, no, she hasn't actually killed a woman yet. But she has. She killed the lady in the toilets. No, yes, she did. What she does is she's got this woman for a reason. She's got a plan. Oh, God, yes, I remember now. This is clever. Yeah, so she cuts off her own thumb, which turns it back into its like reptilian form. Then she cuts off the lady's thumb, and her plan is to fake her own death, which she does really, really well. She leaves in the car. She gets a load of gas in some tanks, and she keeps them in the car. And then she steals another car from the gas station, and she drives off to take it back there and tie the lady up in the car with the petrol, so that later on she can cause this explosion, so they think she's dead. So she's very, very, very clever. Meanwhile, my next note says Ben Kingsley in a sex club. Because he's back in the sex club. It's not really a sex club, but there's a lot of raunchy business happening on the stage, isn't it? I've seen similar in Amsterdam. And the rest of the team are there as well. A live sex show in Amsterdam is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Same. And unsexy. Yeah, really unsexy. Just a bloke looking around at the audience. You're like, all right, why has he just made eye contact with me? That's really fucking weird. Well, me and my wife watched a lady pull a string with like a banner of flags, like bunting, I guess you'd call it, or cunting in this case. I've sort of seen that before. And she, when she'd finished, it said, "Welcome to Amsterdam," or something like that across it. And I just thought, fucking hell, what am I doing here? Yeah. Anyway, their plan now, the reason they're in this club is let's just go to the nightclub and wait for her to show up. Great plan. So that's where they are. They're all in the club. However, Forrest Whitaker senses her and he thinks, I think she's outside. Oh, clever Forrest Whitaker.
And he goes outside and she comes up to him and he says, it's you. Guys, she's here. So the other guys all run out there, and this is where the car chase starts.
See, again, this whole elaborate plan this alien's gone and done to get them to chase her so she fakes her death so they think she's dead. All this time, she could have been on a bus and had sex. She could have had sex with probably the whole bus.
She probably could have shagged the motel owner
100 times over. Like, what the hell is she doing? It's a massive, elaborate plan. It's just taking you off your plan of action here, love. What are you doing?
Well, they're driving along, and Ben Kingsley radios in and says, I think we need the choppers. So they call in some choppers to help chase her.
It's so full on, isn't it?
And they're driving off this road. You know what it's like in LA. You're driving through the hills, through the cliffs, and then all of a sudden she just goes off-road, down a hill. She jumps out of the car, which they don't see, and the car's got this lady in it who's still alive with her thumb cut off.
Oh, it's pretty nasty for that lady who's tied up going, oh my God, driving towards a tree.
She's got petrol spilling all over her from the back seats with all the buckets of petrol behind her.
Yeah, at that moment, you know that you're having a flashback to your whole life and saying goodbye to your kids. That's what's going on there.
The smell of gasoline makes me think I'm probably not going to survive this one.
But life is over. I'm going back into simulation world.
And indeed, the car hits like an electrical box, and the whole thing absolutely explodes. They go and she steals another car, drives off. She's great at stealing cars. She must steal about 6 cars in this film.
It's too much. And Ben Kingsley's there with all people, and he's like, it's over. It's all over now.
One of them says, we found what we think is an alien thumb in the car. And he says, she must have severed her thumb when trying to escape from the car.
That's great. Everybody, go home now. You're not needed anymore.
So they decide to go and celebrate. And Forrest Whitaker says, something doesn't feel right. My eye's twitching again. No, it's always twitching, Forrest. Your eye's always twitching.
His psychic powers are so strong. He should know that straight away. Say, she's not dead. She's over there.
Do you think the more closed his left eye gets, the closer they are to the alien?
In fact, when they turn up at the house and she's hiding in the bushes, he should know that. Yes, his eye probably does get a bit more squinty each time the alien gets closer.
Now, Sil, again, being very clever, she saw a commercial earlier about dyeing hair, so she cuts her own hair and dyes it very dark brown, therefore getting a disguise on the go, because they're looking for a blonde with long hair. She's now a brunette with short hair. Clever girl.
She could have had sex with so many people at this point. God. She's gone to the supermarket and bought hair dye, came home, dyed her hair. She could have had sex so many times.
So your takeaway so far is she's not having sex with enough people in this film?
No, what I'm saying is that her main objective is to have sex and create a fucking alien race as a mother, an alien like the mother in Alien, you know. And she could have done this objective, but she's diddly-daddly. I'm going to dye my hair. Get on with it. I'm going to cut off
the thumb.
Get on with it, woman. Or alien.
Well, while they're all in the club, Ben Kingsley, Michael Madsen also feels like the mission isn't over yet. In fact, he grabs a woman who looks like Sil from behind, but it's not her. And him and Dr. Baker sort of flirt a little bit, and they go and have a little dance. And then they're really mean to Forrest Whitaker because he doesn't drink.
Me and Sarah, as non-drinkers, you as well as a non-drinker, I was watching this going, wow, this is like how I used to be when I'd go out as a 18-year-old down the pub. You know, so there's sort of peer pressure. Because
Alfred Molina says to him, come on, have a drink with us. And he says, I don't drink, I never drink.
And he says, you will drink tonight.
Yeah.
What? Hang on, explain to me why. Because drinking, celebrating, why? And it goes into the whole drinking thing.
And he says, try this, it's a Long Island iced tea. And he says, oh, okay. It doesn't taste like tea. And they all start laughing.
They all start laughing, like, oh, okay. By the way, we just put acid in. I know it's not the same, but we put acid in it. Oh, it's acid. Oh, I don't feel like acid. You know, fuck off.
About 4 Long Island iced teas into it, he's like, I like these cups of tea. These cups of teas are great.
What happens when he's drunk and psychic? Does he start thinking about really drunken psychic stuff?
Or maybe he can start moving stuff with his mind. Maybe that's why he doesn't drink.
No, what he does is when he gets drunk, he looks over at Mark Manson or looks at Alfred Molina and says, You've got pictures of children, haven't you?
Oh
what
my
the
God.
fuck? And I started saying all this shit, and everyone's like, oh my God. And you ran a woman over once and killed her, didn't you?
You married a roller
do
coaster
not give
in
the
Florida.
psychic drink again.
Well, they get him drunk, poor old Forrest Whitaker. And Michael Madsen is sort of basically too pissed off to even try and flirt with Dr. Baker. So she storms off to her hotel room. And
Forrest Whitaker
says,
gives it the psychicness.
He says,
psychic deadline.
She might have gone back to her bedroom, but she doesn't want the night to be over yet. She wants you to go see her again. And he goes, I might just go see if you're right there, Forrest. And he goes up, knocks on her door.
Are you saying when I was younger and I was trying my best at scoring with ladies and losing, I actually needed a psychic sidekick?
Yes, you did. Psychic called Forrest Whitaker.
Psychic Whitaker. Fucking love it. Right, so what do you reckon? Yeah, she'd probably say, yeah. Nice, thanks, man. Come back getting kicked in the balls. I thought you said yes.
Now, Syl is in the hotel with her dark hair, so they don't recognise her. She borrows some of Dr. Baker's perfume in the toilet.
In the
ladies'
bathroom,
toilet.
yeah.
And she says, oh, that's nice perfume. Can I try it? She puts it on. She gets...
This is... So, okay, when she saw Michael... Sorry to interrupt. When she saw Michael Madsen go in the lift, I thought, oh, okay, she's preying on Michael Madsen. She wants to use him as her male sperm donor. Then she goes into the bathroom, puts the perfume on she's got, because she knows Michael Madsen's into the CSI lady, redhead lady,
yep.
And takes her perfume. So I was still like under the impression she's trying to get Michael Madsen to actually want to come on to her. So
she is.
Again,
but she
get
is.
on with it. Go outside and find her.
But she is trying to get Michael Madsen. But sadly, Michael Madsen, within seconds, is lying on the floor with Dr. Baker. So she hears outside the door, doesn't she? And she's like, oh, well, he's having sex now, so I better go and bang Alfred Molina instead. So Michael Madsen knocks on Dr. Baker's door. She looks through the keyhole and goes, yes!
Yeah. So they start doing their thing.
And it's quite a good scene here. She opens the door and she says, was there something you wanted to say? And he's like, yeah, I guess didn't want the night to be over yet. And then they just start kissing. Then they fall over drunkenly. Then they shag.
There's a really intriguing music score going on here because actually
intriguing.
And then we get because we're kind of jumping back to now. It's hilarious. Alfred Molina, he doesn't look like the guy who's going out scoring all the time. His character, and goes to the hotel, and she's in there, and she's basically
hang on. Just before that, then, just to prove how nerdy he is, he's downstairs with Forrest Whitaker, and he says,
because he gets horny.
Ladies over there.
He starts to
think they'd like to speak to a couple of fellas like us.
It's because Michael Madsen went off. No. It's because Michael Madsen. He's like, oh, I know that sex stuff. I could get horny too. And yeah, it's like Only Fools and Horses or something. He just sees a couple of ladies and just goes over to hi, ladies.
Hello, my name's Professor Stephen Arden of Cambridge. I study, insects and bugs.
Why are you giving them your life story?
And they're like, oh, these are our boyfriends.
And the boyfriends come over and he goes, oh, and then that's cut. It's like, oh, dude. But he's still horny. He's going to go home and have a little Tommy Tank probably.
But he doesn't need to because he walks in his bedroom.
And it's amazing.
And there is Natasha Henstridge.
And she's just like, she looks at him. She's like, brilliant. So she just takes her clothes off. And he's like, oh my God, this thing doesn't normally happen to me. And he starts taking his clothes off.
He's so honest with her. He's like, I've just got to let you know, this sort of thing doesn't normally happen to me.
I'm guessing he ejaculates in seconds.
He takes his socks off, bless him, and he's lying down on the bed. And, Forrest Whitaker, meanwhile, is like...
He's drunk in the bar going, I feel something's wrong with my special psychic powers.
I feel like Alfred Molina's having sex with an alien right now.
Yeah, you know this because earlier your psychic powers are incredible, so come on.
She... I put here, it's his lucky day or not. They kiss... She gets a good ride in on top of him and he's having a wonderful time. And what I love here is when he climaxes, he says to her...
I'm glad you're about to explain to us and the listeners in the world right now, Michael Madsen, when he climaxes...
No, this is Alfred Molina. When he climaxes, he says, I enjoyed that immensely. I enjoyed that immensely.
That's very Alan Partridge. And I've probably said the same to Sarah before.
She instantly feels her tummy and knows that she's pregnant, and she says, I can feel it.
He's like, calm down, love.
And she's like, I can feel life inside me. And he says, oh dear. And then he thinks, hang on a minute. Does that mean she's too late? Spikes come out of her back and she starts aliening out.
And she kills him.
She kills him.
At least he got laid before he died.
Meanwhile, Michael Madsen's lying there naked.
He's probably still in there when she started saying, I could feel the baby.
Yep.
Oh.
Meanwhile, Michael Madsen's lying there in the afterglow, naked, with Dr. Baker.
Oh, yeah, baby.
And Forrest Whitaker's banging on his door, going, Preston.
No, he's not banging. No, he's not. He's quite quiet, actually. He's little tap. He's like, what do you want?
He opens the door. He goes, what's the matter, Preston? And he's like, someone's in the room with Alfred Molina. And he's like, yeah, good for him. And he's like, no, I think it's her. They're making a lot of noise there.
Michael Madsen's like, it's quite good because obviously he would have switched off about the hunt. He's done that and he thinks it's done. He's just had sex. So he should be in relaxed mode. But I love the fact he's such a hunter.
He should be having a cigarette now.
Flicks the switch back on it. So he goes, I believe you. Get my gun. Let's fucking do it. And the hunt is back on.
Yeah. And he kicks just before he kicks the bedroom door, and he says to Forrest Whitaker, I hope you're right about this, because if I'm wrong, basically, I'm going to burst in on Alfred Molina getting his end away. And
I love that they did that, and he's there doggy style.
Getting pegged.
He's there getting pegged
by one of her tentacles. Anyway, he kicks the door in, and they find their buddy Alfred Molina split it in two on the bed, blood everywhere. And just as they kick the door in, Sil smashes through the wall and runs away. That's her name, Sil.
Oh, not
the singer,
Crazy.
Sil. The kiss from a rose.
They go,
there used to be a
it's Valentine's. But did you know? But when it snows, my eyes are covered to
solitary brother, is there still a part of you that wants to live? Seal is dope, man. I fucking love Seal. But no, Sil, not Seal. Sil is her name. She smashes through a wall and she's in full-on reptilian mode now. Spikes and all. Pointy, weird spike nipples and everything. And she legs it. And they're like, oh my God, she's gone down to the basement.
Go down to garage. They all get big guns.
Heavy weaponry with flamethrowers. Decent. So they go into some abandoned tunnels that just happen to be underneath the hotel.
Really good atmosphere here, and the music score and the lights in the tunnel with loads of silhouettes and stuff. I think it's red lighting. Really, really good.
Yeah, and this is why this film reminds me of like Mimic or Relic, where you kind of end up in tunnels at the end in the sewers and stuff.
This is where Ben Kingsley's like, okay, where is he? Where is she? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? And it's like, you can't just turn your psychic on and like, so anyway.
Maybe it's because he's had 5 Long Island iced teas.
So Forrest Whitaker's there and he says, I think she's gone that way. So Ben Kingsley says, well, I'm going this way. You're coming with me. Well, hang on. You're getting a psychic who thinks she's gone that way to go the wrong way with you. Well, what's that going to do? Why don't you all go the way the psychic thinks?
But then they spot some bubbles under the water in the sewer. Bloop, 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 bloop. This is very alien, isn't it?
Yeah.
And of course, she jumps out the water. She grabs Ben Kingsley.
Yes, because he's the dick, isn't he? So
and the last thing she says to him as she rips his face off is, "You should have picked methane." No, she doesn't say that. Clean energy. Imagine if she'd have said that. Is that the takeaway from this film? We should have picked clean energy over aliens.
I think so.
That is it? Yeah. Well, they've all got flamethrowers now, like I said. So
it's not a hard question, is it?
No.
It's really easy.
So there's only 3 of them left now. We've got a drunken psychic. We've got Michael Madsen, who's still got a semi-lob on.
Drunken psychic who's starting to get a hangover and say, I want a cheeseburger.
We've got Michael Madsen, who's only just finished pounding away on Dr. Baker.
Can
and
I
Dr.
get
Baker's
a
there as well.
cheeseburger?
I know there's a kebab shop.
I think there's a kebab shop over there. Let's go.
How do you know that?
They've almost run out of kebabs. Come on.
They've sold their last cheeseburger.
On. They've only got some garlic sauce left.
Michael Madsen's like, do you know what I could do with a cheeseburger? I just had sex. We got flamethrowers so we can toast it up nicely. Anyway, it's just 3 of them left, like I said. So we've got Drunken Psychic, Michael Madsen, and Dr. Baker. They're the only ones
What
left.
you going to do with a drunken psychic? What you going to do with a drunken psychic?
Give him another Long Island iced tea. She's above them, and she jumps down from the pipes into the water and swims away really quickly. And straight away...
Oh, jumps out my pipes.
She goes into some weird alien labor. Now, the voice of her is Frank Welker. Do you know Frank Welker?
No.
You do, because Frank Welker did every single cartoon character you can ever think of in the 80s. Famously, if you listen now, you'll know he did Slimer in the Ghostbusters cartoon. That's the noise.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's done from He-Man, Transformer. He did Megatron's voice in Transformers.
Oh, yeah, I knew that, actually, yeah.
So Frank Welker is very famous, and he did the voice for this, for Sil, when she's
Baby!
alien, not Sil. She starts having a baby now. Her torso splits open from boobs to navel. So she doesn't have it out of her alien vagina. She has it out of her whole torso. And the baby comes out. Now, the team are still hunting. And while they're hunting underground, they also come across an underground oil well, which just so happens to be sitting under LA. Now, there are tar pits and stuff around there, so maybe that is something that
Brea tar pits, I've been to them, actually.
There we go. Forrest spots something up on the rocks.
La Brea.
He says, I think I can see something up there. I'm sensing something, and it's a little baby boy up there. So he tries to climb up.
You're a psychic. Don't climb up to the alien boy.
He's drunk, though, as well.
I'm a bit pissed. He might have a kebab. Have you got a kebab, kid?
He got me Alka-Seltzer. The little boy grabs a rat.
Is he turn into Bruce Willis in the 90s? At beginning of every 90s Bruce Willis movies.
This little naked boy grabs a rat with his very long tongue, which is a sentence I don't say very often, really. Forrest sees him, and the boy attacks Forrest Whitaker, who falls, and he's hanging off this sort of side of this ledge, about to fall into the oil. Dr. Baker falls into the oil, and she's stuck. She's like, help me, I'm stuck, I can't get out of here. The boy then starts mutating. So Forrest Whitaker fries this child, this alien child. And of course, Scav, as we know, wherever the baby is, the mother is close by, just like a bear. And Seal,
baby,
goes crazy when she sees her baby being fried. I could pay you to a kiss from a rose on the grave. And she fires out her tentacles at Michael Madsen. She grabs him. He cuts one of the tentacles off. He shoots her with the flamethrower. She falls in the fire, and she burns. Burn.
Burning
to a ring of fire. But before she dies, she tries to pull Forrest in with her to the fire. But Michael Madsen grabs a shotgun and says the immortal line, "Let go of him, motherfucker."
It could have been a better line than that.
It could have. I always wanted something great like fuck,
burn, baby, burn.
Even fuck you would have been better, or you want to mate with this or something.
Bitch, please.
But instead, he blows her head off, which is fine, and she falls in and dies. They don't really have any dialogue other than, "I never thought I'd be happy to be back in the sewers," when they get up a level to the sewers, and they leave. Yeah. And that's it. The credits roll, and then just before the credits start rolling, there's a little close-up of a rat eating the tentacle. It turns to its buddy rat, grabs it with a big tentacle out of its mouth, so it's mutated into a rat. Yeah. Now, this was never followed up in any of the sequels.
Really?
Yeah. Waste of fucking time. I don't care about the mutant rat. And actually, this is the only thing I would change. I wouldn't have that bit in the end with the rat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bother with it. I'd have had more of a sort of up back on ground level, them sort of talking about how they've completed the mission, you know, that kind of thing. Maybe Michael Madsen saying, maybe we should go get some more Long Island iced teas. And Forrest Whitaker saying, I like those cups of teas. I like those cups of teas. And that's the end. Something like that.
Or cut to Forrest Whitaker as an alcoholic.
Yeah. Or he's in a
psychic
with the other two. Anything.
I'll do psychic stuff for money.
I'll tell you what colour underwear you're wearing for $5.
But
that's the end.
We've been talking about this one for a long time. I like this movie. It's a fun film. If you've not seen it, I highly recommend it for a fun throwback to the 90s when it was just kind of colourful, loud and kind of fun and no one cared so much.
If you like Terminator, Alien or Basic Instinct, this kind of shoves those all into a blender, really. It's got some slightly ropey CGI.
I think it's got some all right actual practical effects as well, though. It's got some good death. It's got some boobs.
It kills off most of the cast, which is great. You don't know who's going to die and who's not.
It's got a few twists here and there, a little bit. Obviously, we spoiled it all, but it's an all right horror film. I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
The thing, I will definitely give it a severed alien thumb off.
Very good.
But I would say what elevates this is she's very clever, the alien in it.
No, she's not.
It's a really good detective. All right, but she does a good plan. She just should have spent that time having sex. You're right.
She should have just gone and banged and done that in 5 minutes.
But the story ties everything together. The way that they're hot on the trail, they don't just accidentally come across clues. It's quite clever. They come across the clues because of things after things after things. Yeah. So yeah, really good movie. A nice horny one to end our our Valentine special.
Dripping with sex.
Spiky alien boobs. So there we go. Don't bother with Species 3 or 4. Maybe check out 2, guys.
I might check out 2.
Yeah, it's worth watching. She's in it at least.
Let's get out of here.
Wraps it up. Let's all zip up and come back for the outro. Zip.
And we're back again.
And we're back for the climax for the Valentine's episode.
Dripping.
Brilliant. That was episode 172, our Valentine's special for 2025. Species and The Loved Ones. 2 very different films. One very fucking dark and one very fucking fun. So great stuff all round. Good episode. I enjoyed that. But let's move on. Coming up, episode 173. Our next episode is a patron pick. Matthew Godley is on his 3rd go around.
Ooh.
He selected the 1986 cult classic Spookies.
Spookies? Yeah, and like I said, I don't know.
Don't know if you've seen it, do you?
No.
There we go. And my God, he's paired it up with Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange.
Nice.
From 1971. So that will be a fairly meaty conversation. And Spookies will be a lot of fun. So that is what is our next episode. After that, we're doing an actor special. Bruce Campbell. We will be celebrating Bruce Campbell, the Chin. And we will be looking at Army of Darkness from 1992. Some of his finest comedic acting. I'm pairing it up with 2002's Bubba Hotep.
Nice.
That's going to be a fun one. Then after that, Gav, it's my birthday episode. Episode 175. We are going to be doing something old, something new, and something black and blue. Because we are going to be doing something new in the form of The Substance.
I know, that's so cool.
I'm very excited. It's my favourite horror film in the last 25 years.
Right, conversation we're going to have, though.
Going to be great. And I'm pairing that up with, the reason I said black and blue is because the old thing we're covering is 1973's Enter the Dragon. It's my birthday episode, and I'll pick what I want.
How
and
cool
that's what
that?
I want to do. Enter the Dragon and The Substance. So that is our next 3 episodes, guys. We got a patron pick, we got a Bruce Campbell special, and my birthday special after that. What a soundtrack!
Dan, I have that on vinyl.
I've got it on CD.
Lalo Schifrin.
I had it on cassette because I recorded. In fact, I recorded the whole film onto audio cassette when I was younger, like we used to do with films, so I could listen to it.
I've got 2 Bruce Lee films, final soundtrack, randomly.
What's the other one you've got? Game of Death, probably?
Yeah, I think it is Game of Death.
Yeah, Game of Death's got a really good soundtrack as well. So that's what's coming up, guys. So stick with us. We've got lots of fun as the year plods along. Well, let's do some housekeeping and then we can say goodbye. And they say that in Species, actually. She copies her. She goes, housekeeping, doesn't she? Yeah. That's how she gets into the bedroom. So, yeah, we are the podcast on Haunted Hill. Thank you to everybody for listening and supporting over all the years.
Thank you.
We have and always will be a proud member of Legion Podcast Network.
Yep.
And we're also under the Deadbolt Media umbrella.
Yep.
If you want to know more about Legion, just go to legionpodcast.com. You can find out more about all the other shows on the network, and all of our and all the other shows back episodes are all on there to listen to at your leisure. You can email us directly. The podcast on Haunted Hill at outlook.com is our email address for suggestions, questions, and molestations. I don't know. Just trying to find something to rhyme with questions and suggestions, but
yeah, good job.
Questions. We're on Facebook. Thanks. Good job.
Good job.
Gav's wearing kind of sunglasses at the moment. Which
the whole time I've been sitting here looking like fucking Elvis. My glasses have broke. And the only thing I've got to wear is my sunglasses, which are big aviator shades.
And he's wearing a dressing gown as well.
A dressing gown, big aviator shades.
It's like I've done a podcast. Well, it's like I've done a podcast with Hugh Hefner. This what's been going on. Anyway, we are on Facebook. If you go to Facebook and search for the podcast on Haunted Hill, we have a page on there you can join. It's a really good fun page. It's been going for about 11 years now.
Old and sexy. Hugh Hefner, that is, not the page.
Yeah, well, both, actually.
Probably.
Us and the page. And Bill Murray.
Long balls. That's how I feel like I'm David Lynch saying long balls. I don't know why.
Jesus Christ. Legion podcasts also have a Facebook page. Again, you can just search for Legion Podcast and they have their own page. We're all members of that as well.
Yep.
Wherever you're listening to us now is where you can continue to listen to us. We're aware that our last episode is
a bit of a delay.
Stuttering, only on some platforms.
Yeah, on one platform that I have, it seems to be on there. So if you can't find it regular programming, maybe check another app just in case you're missing an episode.
Well, we're definitely on Spotify, YouTube, Podknife, Podbean, Apple, Podcast Addict, all the usual sort of bits and bobs. And our handle on Instagram is the podcast on Haunted Hill Insta, where we promote each episode with a little collage and a link to the episode. And Deadbolt Media is our production company.
Yeah.
Go to deadboltfilms.com. You can find out more about all the movies we're working on. Have worked on shorts, features. Amanda will be out soon.
Yeah, Amanda's out soon. We are literally at the moment just finishing off another script which we're getting in front of some people and a pitch deck for some possible funders possibly to go, but we're also about to prep for another found footage film, which is an action film, which is a heist film, horror heist movie, which I've kind of said, but which is going to be fantastic. We can actually put a proper, well, not a proper, but a reasonable budget to it for a found footage film. But yeah, I'm working out at the moment. I want big guns when I'm walking around with big guns. On Saturday, everybody, I'm going to be watching Predator in 3D.
We going to Ben's house.
Yep.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh yeah.
What's got Billy spooked? That ain't no man.
Yeah, I love it.
We covered Predator for our 50th episode.
Predator in 3D though. What the fuck?
Yeah, you'll feel like you're there, won't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, Deadbolt Media. Underneath that umbrella, we've done feature films. We are still working on films, scripts, comics, and this podcast, as well as Gav's other podcast, which is called
High Strangeness Podcast.
Yes, and a little spin-off of it called Extra Extra as well, which is still part of the High Strangers. So plenty going on under Deadbolt. We have a YouTube channel. Just search for Deadbolt Films. Again, it's deadboltfilms.com is the website, and we're on Instagram under Deadbolt Films, all one word. And finally, we are part of Patreon. So if you wish to support the show in a monetary fashion. Anything you wanted to give us would help us to continue to grow, evolve, and trundle along nicely as a
Massively
show.
appreciate it. I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for patrons, the episodes might not be as frequent. And it's not saying we don't enjoy doing it. It's just time is very short. And sometimes I struggle myself currently with all Deadbolt films, everything I'm doing, to find time to watch the movies and spend a whole evening talking to Dan. Not that I don't enjoy it. So, but with the patrons, it does. I'm like, right, I've got to do it because of the patrons. So it does more frequent episodes.
Because since we've had patrons, which has been about 3 years now, we've managed to pretty much stick to 2 episodes per month.
Yeah, we feel like we owe it.
Which is about 4 hours per episode, which means that is a good 3 evenings per episode. It takes for me anyway, because I watch one film one night, one film another night, then I write the episode. So actually 4, because then we record. So you're looking at 8 episodes per month, 8 evenings per month. But I'm happy to do it. I love doing it. It's my thing.
If we didn't have the patrons, you lovely patrons, if we didn't have you,
it wouldn't be
pretty much say the episodes wouldn't be as frequent. I'd be like, I can't do it, and you'd be like, all right, no worries, let's do it next month. So, yeah, just to say thank you so much.
If you become a patron for as little as £1 or $1 a month, you start off with getting a free T-shirt sent out to you wherever you are, in one of 3 different colours. You'll also get to be a patron who has a patron pig. And every 3 episodes, one of our patrons programs are picks, which means you will pick the 2 films that we review. You'll tell us if you want to. You can send us a blurb or an essay or whatever you want about why you picked those 2 films, what they mean to you the first time you saw them, all that kind of stuff. So, for example, our next episode is Clockwork Orange and Spookies. Matthew's going to be telling us all about why he's chosen those 2, what he loves about them, etc., etc. And you will get exclusive early access to some of our episodes. You'll also get exclusive content that we release occasionally, and all of our back catalogue is available on Patreon. We did release one every Friday, but we've updated them now. We're caught up now. So every episode is on there, which, as Gav always says, is great, because if for some reason we lost all of our servers or whatever would go down, they're all on Patreon as well now, so that's great. So you will also get a shout out at the end of each episode.
There's quite a few positives for becoming a patron.
There is indeed, and the last positive is I'm going to say your name now. So thank you ever so much to all of our patrons, starting with Dante, Don Collier, Matthew Godley, Jamie Jenkins, Kevin S. Fife, Sarah Kay, Rachel, RJ McCready, and Lex Boo.
Thank you so much.
We love you, you Valentine's patrons, you.
You're all dripping with sex.
Sexy alien nipples. And that concludes episode 172. Valentine's, sexy time. I need to mop up after that.
Oh, I know, I'm dripping.
Bill Murray's got his residue everywhere. He says it's ectoplasm, but I know it's not.
It's not.
Egon, your mucus. So yeah, Gav, thanks very much.
Thank you.
It's a good night from Michael Madsen, flirting with me in a lift.
It's a good night from some alien boobs.
It's a good night from Daddy, give me a kiss, I'm your princess.
Oh, it's been a weird, sexy night, that's for sure. It's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from you.
Good night.
Good evening.